Hey there, guys. Welcome back to the Travis and Damian podcast, episode 179. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and more. Today, we're talking about Stranger Things 5, Fallout Season 2, our top 10 games of 2025, and more. But as usual, we will begin with our recent activities, what we've been up to in the world of gaming.
Yeah, so I'll start first. We kind of have like similar stuff. A lot Capcom filled right now.
Yes.
First I was going through Mega Man, the NES games. Obviously, Mega Man 12 is coming out. That's very exciting. There was like a big holiday sale on all the Mega Man games on Switch, and I believe PlayStation. I already owned them all on Switch, so I was just like, let me play some old Mega Man again. And I went through all 1 through 6. I mean, they're not very long, so it's not like that insane, but yeah, man. I think in terms of NES games, like the old Mega Man games still hold up like extremely well. The first game is kind of okay. It's very like it feels like a beta, like what a Mega Man game should feel like. They really nailed it down at Mega Man 2. But the series itself is just great. Like, the music goes so hard. A lot of the stages are really nice to look at. The Robot Masters are pretty fun to fight. Like, it really is like a... Like I'm always surprised that it's like an NES game because of how well these games play. After 1, like the first game feels kind of floaty, but after 1, like especially 2, like I'm a normie. Like Mega Man 2 is my favorite. I love it so much, and it's so good. The other ones are all fun as well. Mega Man 3. I think they all have like some issues. Like Mega Man 3 is a little too long. Mega Man 4 is kind of bullshit sometimes. 5 is like kind of just forgettable. 6 is cool because you get like the low like rush adapter. Like you can like have like your little mech suit. And yeah, just like honestly, I love Mega Man. I don't know if I'll go through 7, 8, and 9 and 10 just yet, but I do kind of want to. And I kind of want to play through the X games. The X games, I feel like I only play through like 1, and like that's it. I own the Legacy Collection, so I should probably do that as well. There's just so much Mega Man.
Yes.
I really need to like sit down and go through all the sub-series because I actually did buy Bow Network. I bought the Bow Network Legacy Collection because it was only like $20 for both. So I am pretty interested in going into those at some point because I know you and Kofi like love those games.
Yep.
Back when we were growing up. So and I just never got into them. Not that I got into them, I just never bought them. So I would like to go through more of Mega Man's like back catalog before Mega Man 12 comes out. And that won't come out till fucking like 2027 for some reason. So we have some time, but yeah, Mega Man, awesome. I think they're still on sale. So if you never played Mega Man before, I think it's a great chance to like jump in on the series. It's really good. So.
And what would you say to someone like me who's a noob at Mega Man? Even though I love platformers, I just feel like whenever I get into those games, I'm just dying over and over. I'm just straight terrible, straight ass. What would you say to someone like me?
I would say the Legacy Collection is the best way to play it because like the game gives you a lot of modern conveniences. Just the rewind button, like if you hold L, you just rewind like everything. So if you miss a jump or if you take too much dumb damage, you could just rewind it to like be right back in there. So it really makes the games like pretty painless because there are some like shitty cheap deaths in the game. Like you'll like fall down a pit and you have to like move Mega Man a certain way or else you just land in spikes. Like it's just kind of dumb. So the rewind feature does help with that. There's also save states as well. You can just save and then load if you're like maybe like if you're about to fight a Robot Master, you're not sure how to like deal with its patterns, you could just like save and load. So I think those two things help a lot with the Legacy Collection. I'm not too sure if the other games have it. I think like the ZX Collection has like an easy mode in general. The X Collection might have a rewind as well. I can't remember. But for sure, the Legacy Collection one has a rewind feature that makes it like just way more bearable to play some of these games. Because even myself, like they can be tough, like especially some of the later ones. So having those modern conveniences are really nice to have just to like experience these games. So yeah, I highly recommend the Legacy Collection.
All right, noted. Keep that in mind for whenever I get to Mega Man. What I've been playing for the past 2 weeks has been a little unexpected. I was going through what I wanted to do for the next year for the channel, and obviously Resident Evil 9 Requiem comes out, and that's like probably my most anticipated game right now because it is so close, and I'm so excited to see what this game can be, as I theorize it might be the best Resident Evil game so far. So I got to play what a lot of people consider is the best Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 4. And I very easily could have dove into the remake because I bought that last year or some time ago. But I was like, I want to see why people love the 2005 original so much. So I'm going to make a whole video on it. But I will talk about it here, obviously, because this is a game that a lot of people don't want to get into or feel like that they can't because of the tank controls and the outdated design design and everything about like the gameplay aspect, because I think a lot of people enjoy the visuals, the very humor and sort of comedic dialogue that the game has. There's a lot of charm to Resident Evil 4, but the tank controls are definitely a killer for a lot of people. You can't run and shoot. You have to move, stop, point your gun, and then shoot. And there's a lot of little archaic things that I learned as I kept playing, like to reserve ammo. Like my first like 3 hours, I want to say, I was at 1 HP, no bullets, no nothing. I was legit like struggling. But I learned that if you knock down enemies, you could just walk up to them and knife them, which I was not doing a lot. And I was like, oh, okay, should probably going to do that. But Resident Evil 4, I think, is a very good game. Definitely outdated, definitely a little archaic in design, but I think everyone should at least give it a try because it is available on literally anything and everything. Do I recommend you play the PS2 version? Fuck no. The game looks really, really bad, and apparently this is like the worst version of looking Resident Evil 4.
The GameCube version, I think, is the best looking.
Yes, the GameCube version is the best.
Or the remasters,
Yeah. Those two, because the GameCube version is what Resident Evil 4 was built for. When they ported it to the PlayStation 2, they had to compress a lot of the cutscenes into sort of pre-rendered cutscenes, and also they even added a couple of other things like separate ways, and I think there's a little mini game called Ada's Mission or something like that. But you know, I bought this at Too Many Games because I was like, if I'm gonna play Resident Evil 4, I tried to play it on the Wii and I was like, this shit's terrible. Maybe I'll go back to it now that I actually know how the game is front to back, because aiming and shooting with the controller is not for the faint of heart. I was like, holy shit, this is like kind of hard, really, really difficult. But you know, once you get into it, once you get past the tank controls, once you get past the fact that you have to open up your menu to swap out weapons and sort of equip grenades and all of that other stuff, like it's a lot of fun. I honestly had a great time. I think it took me like 15, 16 hours to get through it all. I had a ton of deaths, saved a bunch of times, but hey, this is my first time playing Resident Evil 4, and I could recommend it. If you want to play it today, play it on like the PS4, the Nintendo Switch, play any one of the modern ports of it. Don't go back to the original PS2 version like I did. Maybe you could go back to the GameCube one, but it is a little pricey in terms of like actual physical game copy version. So like I said, just get it on any one of the modern consoles. It's only like $20 too. So definitely check out Resident Evil 4. Even if you have played the remake, I still recommend it. I do have to dive into the remake fully for myself, but I know there's so many improvements that the remake does that sort of modernize the game to make it quite literally the best version to play it. But I still think Resident Evil 4, the original, has a lot of charm and a lot of things that you will appreciate a lot more if you played the remake.
Yeah, I mean, the original, does have a lot of charm to it. I played up until the castle of the original. I played on like Steam like quite a few years ago, and I'm getting really annoyed at the part where Ashley has to like put the things up and you have to protect her, and I just couldn't do it. I was just so annoyed at that, and then stopped playing it. But I think the games are distinct enough, both remake and the original, to really stand on their own. I mean, there's still people that just prefer the original, just from like the tone of the game being more humorous and just being less serious, I guess. The game still looks great, like visually, like you said, on maybe not on PS2, but on GameCube, like it still looks really good. Same thing with the remasters they've done. Like I'm always impressed with how well this game still has aged throughout the years. And, the gameplay isn't as, I guess, archaic as some of the older Resident Evils, like Resident Evil 1 through 3. Yeah. I tried playing the GameCube 1 remake, because I know it's good, but that's real tank controls. That I cannot. It's just so hard to play it. I got into, I think we both got into Resident Evil really recently. I started with the RE2 remake, and now I love the series, right?
Exactly.
Like, I think the series is great, but I'm so used to like the original RE4 is also over the shoulder, but you can't move and shoot. The movement does feel a lot more awkward. I'm just more used to the more smooth controls of the recent remake games. But that's just me. That's me being like a little zoomer brain about it, I guess. But I'm not saying like the original is bad at all or anything. But I do think the remake is more like, it goes more to modern like expectations of what you expect with these games to control like. And as for me, I was replaying RE4 as well. I was getting the itch to play some more. I kind of want to do RE7 and 8 before 9 comes out, because I've seen multiple playthroughs of those games, but I never played them for myself, so I do want to play those. But I decided to do another playthrough of RE4, just doing a 100% run. Game is still great. Like you said, a lot of the issues do get addressed from the original. Like the controls are way smoother. The game looks really great. I mean, it just runs perfectly. Even on a base PS5, it looks great. The tone is a little more serious, but it can still be jokey at times as well. Like it still has all the cheesy lines from the original, so that it doesn't like completely loses itself. It's just a great game, and I also played the Separate Ways DLC.
Yes.
On the PS2 version, I believe it just came with it, and this you have to buy it separately. But it's pretty good. It's pretty lengthy. It's like maybe 6 hours, maybe a bit more. I'm almost done with it, but it basically is just more RE4, except we play as Ada.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it was in the original game, but in this one, it basically controls the exact same way, except when you melee people, she like grapple hooks onto them, and it's like really good.
Oh, okay.
So Leon would have to like run over to roundhouse kick someone. Ada could just like be like super far away and like just hook shot them and like kick them in the face. It's great. So the DLC like completely drops the horror aspect. It's just like, yeah, you're just like killing people. It's great. So RE4 Remake, I think it's definitely one of my favorite RE games. Like it's super great. Really replayable as well. Like you could do multiple playthroughs. I do want to get the plat for this game eventually, but it's a lot of playthroughs you have to do. You have to do like a knife and handgun only run. You have to do a hardcore run. You got to do a professional run. But these games are so replayable because each time you complete a run, you get like a new OP weapon. So you get like the infinite magnum, or you get like the infinite rocket launcher, or a really strong knife. So it just keeps you want to keep playing. It's great. So yeah, RE4 Remake is really good. I'm excited for you to play through it because I definitely think it's like the highlight of the series. It's really good.
Yeah, I definitely have played bits and snippets of RE4 Remake just because I was like, or should I say, my girlfriend wanted to play on hardcore mode for some reason, and there were certain parts like that section where you have to protect Ashley from those guys as she's like turning those switches or whatever. So I had to do that on fucking hardcore mode on the remake. So when I played it on the original, I was prepared to throw my controller, David. I was like, oh, Damian fucking rage quit at this. I was like, am I gonna throw it? And I was like, I got through it like on like the second try, I think. So
that's good. Yeah, it was so annoying.
Yeah, Ashley is still probably one of the most hindering parts of Resident Evil 4, but you could still get through it. I think a lot of the game boils down to trial and error, especially the original. But I did just literally finish the sort of Separate Ways DLC little side story that they had, which I thought it was going to be like a epilogue thing because the game kind of just ends with like Ada taking the sample and then just dipping. I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're going to see where that goes. But no, it's literally just...
No, it's like a parallel story.
Yes, you get to see what Ada is doing as the events of RE4 are going on. So it's fun. Ada moves a little faster than Leon. She does have the grapple hook, but it's not used for like melee. It's for like travel and stuff.
Yeah, you could do that too in the remake.
Yeah, it's a lot more action based, like you said. But it's a nice little like 4 to 5 hour thing that you could just dive into. It's pretty fun. You can't upgrade your weapons firepower. It's literally just you buy stuff, you buy new weapons, make more room for other things and whatnot. So Resident Evil 4. I'm glad I finally played it, and I can see why people have played it again over and over and over again throughout these years, because it is honestly a classic, timeless game that really did revolutionize the third person over the shoulder camera angle and all that stuff. So yeah, very happy I finally got to that. Now, let's get into the 2 TV shows we have watched. First up, we're going to talk about Fallout Season 2. I'll go first real quick because I'm a fucking Fallout noob. But, that recap at the beginning was very nice. I love that they are still expanding upon the world of Fallout and sort of what happened between, I guess, everything going to shit and sort of where we were back then. Obviously, the ghoul, freaking Lucy, what's his name? Goddamn Maximus. I hated that Maximus wasn't in the first episode, but I could see why after seeing the second episode, because they really wanted to give you everything about Maximus to show where he's been, what's been going on ever since the ending of season 1, and they really do flesh that out throughout episode 2, and I cannot wait to see more of his story in particular. I love that Lucy and the ghoul are kind of like butting heads, because obviously that fucking duo is not going to work out whatsoever. And Lucy is getting a little over her head. She's meeting up with with another group that she thought was okay, but you could very much tell that that lady that she saved was not like jiving with her as much. After she saved her. after she saved her life, and I was like, uh-oh, this is not going to end well. And also, I just have my girlfriend yapping in my ear about, all of the lore and all this other stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. So yeah, Fallout Season 2, so far so good. I am enjoying it. I definitely was on a big Fallout high after Season 1, so I was kind of anticipating that Season 2 was going to start off maybe a little more grander, but, I'll just have to wait and see how the whole season pans out.
Yeah, it does feel like a lot of setup for whatever is going to happen next. It could be, I don't know if Amazon was like making this weekly in mind. Like, I don't know if they had it already like, okay, like you're going to binge this in mind. Because I do notice with some shows, like maybe it was like built for binging. So maybe the first few episodes feel a bit like more setup-y than anything. But then like, it's like, oh, here's like the payoff like immediately. But here you don't really get that. It's like a weekly show now. So I do wonder if that's like kind of the reason for that. But I still think it's good. We obviously just got a lot of setup for a ton of different plot lines. We still have like the 3 major ones. Well, I guess now it's like they combined the Ghoul and Lucy together, so they're mostly like together now. Maximus still having his thing going on, and now we have Mr. House and Lucy's father's like plot lines going on. First thing I want to say is just like, yeah, like the Easter eggs in this are great. Like, it's like not pandering, like it kind of is, but it's also like just fun. In the beginning, Lucy's like shooting at like that dinosaur statue. That's a location in New Vegas. That's pretty iconic. There's also, I think, a whole mission in that game where one of your companions is like sniping through it. So that was cool to see in this show. I was gonna say game in this show. Big Iron playing, like that's great as well. They even do the meme line like patrolling the Mojaves. Yes. See which from nuclear winter. At first I was just like, okay, that's a little too pandering, but I love the way they play it into the story where the caravan driver was like fucking mind controlled brain dead. I'm like, that's funny because every NPC says that in that fucking game. So I thought that was a cute way to implement it into the show itself. And we get introduced to like bigger characters like Robert House. We were introduced to him in the first season, but in this season, this is obviously like his domain here. Like New Vegas is his game. So being able to see him like I guess testing some mind control chip that seems to be a pretty important element in this show is interesting. I don't believe that was in New Vegas. It's been like 10 years since I played New Vegas, so my memory's a little fuzzy, but. In that game, he wanted the platinum chip. Like that was what your main character is supposed to deliver to him, and that was supposed to upgrade his it's called the Lucky 38, I believe. That was supposed to upgrade like the defense missile grid or some shit, and like defend it from a bunch of nuclear missiles or whatever. That's why New Vegas looks kind of like it's not like bombed to shit because he was able to like defend himself from like the nuclear fallout. But wow, that upgraded and like fully protected. But that was part of this game. For this show, it looks like this is like a new thing. I'm guessing. I don't remember anything about a mind control chip in New Vegas. So it looks like it was still like prototyping in the pre-war, and Lucy's father seems to have like been using it for his own needs. I don't know if Mr. House is alive in this show. In New Vegas, there's like multiple endings you could pick, and I'm pretty sure out of like 3 out of 4 of them, you'd like kill him. So I think they're picking the one where he's still alive because it'd be kind of weird for Lucy's dad to still be like talking to him like he's alive. So I don't really know what ending they're gonna pick because that's always a really tricky thing. Is since this show is canon to the Fallout timeline apparently, and it's supposed to take out years after New Vegas. Those events did happen. So I do wonder what side they're gonna end up picking because you have a lot of the same factions. Like Lucy was taken by Caesar's Legion, which was a big faction in New Vegas. Yes. The NCR was in the first season. That's where Mordover or whatever her fucking name was. She was part of the NCR as well, and they were like hanging around in Sadie Sands as well. And then we have all Mr. House's stuff. So I do wonder how the fuck they're gonna choose what ending they're gonna pick. If they're just gonna kind of ignore it, pick and choose what they want to do. Because Mr. House in New Vegas is alive. He's like this like husk of a guy that's like tied up to a bunch of tubes that talks to a computer. So that's how he's able to live through all this time. So I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do with that, but that's interesting to see that Lucy's dad is using whatever technology he had pre-war to like sort of do his deeds in the future. So we'll see what goes with that. I don't even know why he nukes Shady Sands to begin with. I think they had a reason in season 1, but I like forgot. So yeah, that's interesting to see what he's going to be doing there. Like we were talking about with Lucy, she's trying her hardest to be like this good Samaritan, try to go for the good karma route, but obviously the wasteland sucks ass. and as a result, she gets captured by Caesar's Legion. They are not good people. There's some people that are very weird about Caesar's Legion, like, oh, they're misunderstood. There are like slavers and stuff, so probably not. So that's probably why that girl was there, because she was probably a slave. So yeah, not great. So we're gonna see how she deals with Caesar's Legion and see like what changes about that faction. I'm not too familiar with them because I always just kill them in New Vegas. I've like never sided with them, so that's gonna be interesting to see what they do with them. And then we get the Ghouls Pass that still comes up with Cooper Howard. We learned this in season 1 as well, where Vault Tech was the one that like launched the war to begin with. This was a huge controversial thing when season 1 came out, because Fallout was never really about like capitalism being bad, but now we kind of are doing the capitalism is bad, which is not wrong, but it was never clear like who was actually the one that like shot first. I believe it was like either China or America were the ones that like launched the first nukes, and then like everyone nuked each other after that. So being like Vault Tech was the one to be like, okay, we're gonna like start to do like a false flag and like nuke ourselves, I guess, and then start the whole nuclear war, so like vaults could be sold and like they could have this like world wipe clean, so they could like the rich people could take over or some shit. So that seems to be the plot they're going with now. Gonna be interesting to see how they do it with that, because that seems to be pretty controversial with a lot of people. I think it's fine for the most part. We're just gonna have to see how they deal with it, because it's kind of like that the Fallout universe is more like they just kind of nuked each other just for reasons. Like it was not one reason. This one seems like there's just a mastermind behind it, which I feel like takes away a bit of it, but we'll see. And obviously Cooper Howard's wife is like kind of not a great person. She's like kind of complicit in all this. So now he is spying on his own wife to make sure like what's going on here with Vault Tech. Yeah. And Robert House seems to be involved with it as well. So we're probably going to see him interact with Robert House in pre-war stuff. Again, still not sure if he's alive after the war, but I guess we'll see. And like sort of the last two big things being like the Norm plot line. He was still stuck in the vault at the end of season 1 with Buds, and now he like freed them. So he's gonna be doing stuff. So I don't really know where this is going, but I guess we'll see. It's very funny to see all the executives just like not knowing what the fuck to do, and they're just like, oh, we thought the world was gonna be ready to reclaim it, but obviously not. So it's gonna be interesting to see what that happens there. And sort of like the last big thing is the Maximus plot lines. So this is where we get the flashback about Shady Sands getting nuked. It was cool to see it. Shady Sands, by the way, was a location in Fallout 1, I think. That was like sort of the main area in that game, and it sort of had a reputation of being like the first like big pre or post-war like settlement to actually like become like an actual city. Like obviously in those flashbacks we saw his father, Maximus' dad, getting clean water. They had like technology that was like pretty nice. Sort of like in Walking Dead when they had the I don't remember what the fuck it was called, that like little town they had. It was like, oh, this is a nice little like pre-apocalypse town. It's sort of the same deal. But obviously not anymore because he got fucking nuked. So then we see Maximus. At the end of season 1, he got Code Fusion, which was able to have unlimited power that they were working on before the war. So he was able to get that, and now he's like the big shit in the Brotherhood of Steel. And it seems to be some civil war going on between them, where they feel they have the power to overtake the bigger like sort of like faction of the Brotherhood now with this Code Fusion. The thing they were like giving the other elders of the Brotherhood of Steel was the fusion cores that powers the power armor, so they were able to make a shitload of them. So I guess they're like, oh, we could just win because we have a shitload of resources now. And then they're like settling in Area 51 now, I guess, so that's funny. There were some other Easter eggs. There was a Zedin in there, which is like the little alien guy. You can see the Zedin ship as well, so that's pretty cute. But yeah, just a lot of setup for the rest of the season. A lot of cool Easter eggs, a lot of like plot lines being introduced here, continuing on from season 1. And yeah, I'm just pretty excited to see where they go with this. The most interesting thing about this game is it's not like an adaptation. Like this is like a full-on sequel. Like this is like expanding the lore after the previous games have ended, which is not something I don't think any like video game show has done. Yes. So it's gonna be interesting to see like how they really handle that. Again, my biggest concern is like how they handle the multiple endings thing. Like I don't really care too much. I picked like the neutral ending, which was just like you can make the New Vegas be controlled by Mr. House, the NCR, or Caesar's Legion. I just made it like a free-for-all, so I'm like, whatever. I like killed like Mr. House and just made it like anyone could pick your own destiny, and I go ahead, do your thing. So I don't know how the fuck they're gonna handle any of that, but I guess we'll see as the show goes along. But yeah, so far so good. I'm still enjoying it quite a bit. So yeah.
the whole Maximus flashback sequence, I was like, oh boy, something bad's gonna happen. And then that line came up, and my girlfriend was losing her mind. She was like, that's from the fucking game. And I was like, what are you talking about?
It's the meme line.
Yeah. So, and then he just brought the bomb to the place, and then he was like, hide in the fridge. I was like, oh no, this is gonna be
it's like Indiana Jones shit.
God damn it. But, so, yeah, I mean,
I don't know what's up with fridges and nukes. I don't know why that's a thing. Is that real? Like, why is this the second thing that's done this?
Maybe the Mythbusters could find that out. But
yeah,
Fallout Season 2 so far so good.
Yep.
I guess we could talk about Stranger Things 5, Volume 2.
Things Volume 2, yeah.
I wrote a little too many notes here. We're not going to talk about legit every single point. We'll go through like the sort of little groups that they go on in. But overall, with these 3 episodes, there were definitely some really great moments, some fantastic, amazing, sort of Stranger Things iconic moments, I would say. But I would also say overall, it was like not that great, especially because episode 7 feels so much like a setup for the finale, when the finale is only 2 hours long and it's going to have to somehow tie everything together. And I feel like that there could have been at least one more episode. That this season could have been 9 episodes very easily, but it looks like that they are very confident that the last finale bit that's going to premiere in theaters, by the way, which a lot of people have tickets for, which is exciting. It's going to wrap up within those 2 hours on New Year's Eve. So we'll see how the fuck that goes. I have no idea if it'll actually land, but like I said, overall, Volume 2, it was okay, especially considering I would say Volume 1 was a really strong reintroduction to Stranger Things that really brought a lot of fans back in good faith for the show, where it was like, holy shit, like, yeah, the stakes are higher. It's definitely not what season 1 was about, but it definitely felt like an event kind of thing, right? Like with those first 4 episodes. With these next 3, it was like, I don't know what we're doing here. There were some cool moments, but like overall, it was like, what's happening?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see the complaint where at the end of or Stranger Things 4, when like the town was all destroyed, and then we just ignored that. And now we're just doing like, the way season 5 started was very weird, where it's just back almost to status quo. Mm-hmm. And then we're like kind of going back to it being like everyone's dying again. I don't know. I always thought that was kind of weird. But, I thought Volume 1 ended well. Like I thought the stakes were high, like you said. We got a lot of plot, or I guess character development for Will, who I feel like was like kind of just like a nothing character for so long. And I thought it ended well with him using the powers. I saw some people saying it feels like a Deus Ex Machina, that he's able to like control Vecna and the hive mind. But I don't know. I feel like it was setting that up pretty like well throughout the seasons. Like I don't think, because the brothers, like what are the Duffer brothers or whatever the fuck they're called, the creators of this show, they're always bullshitting. Was like, oh, we planned this shit from the start. No, you fucking didn't. Like there's so much like shit that feels so retconned, and I'm like, you guys didn't know shit probably until like season 4 is when they like finally understood what they wanted to do. But as one thing I think they've done pretty well is the Will stuff, like kind of like it doesn't feel like too ass pulley to make him like actually like use powers and shit. So I think that was fine. But the start of the season was very much like, I thought it was fine. Like I thought like the beginning of this volume was like pretty good. Like you said, it's mostly towards the end where it kind of like gets a bit like okay. So
I mean, do you want to talk about the sort of Will coming out scene, or do you want to touch on some other stuff first? We should probably talk about some other stuff first. Okay. I guess that's a pretty big scene. Yeah. All right. So I guess we'll touch on Holly and Max. That was sort of, I would say, the big focal point throughout these 3 episodes. That was a big
focal point. Yeah, that's like the biggest focal point for this volume. Yeah.
Yes, trying to get them 2 out of Vecna's mind. And, I really do like their dynamic. It was a lot of fun seeing them interact, because you could see Holly, sort of getting over Max in terms of like her shyness and just being like, yeah, like now you're my friend and I'm just going to do whatever I want. You're not going to let me go in the desert by myself, right? So, them working together to try to get out of Vecna's mind, and them even getting almost captured and killed at one point. I thought that was also another cool scene with Will and the others sort of realizing that, hey, we could we could resurrect this Demogorgon and then sort of have Will tap back into the hive mind. This is another thing that I've seen people complain about online, is that like a lot of this volume throughout these 3 episodes is just characters coming up with a theory or a plan and then them doing it and then it works. And I'm like, yeah, I could see that. A lot of this season does boil down to that, unfortunately, I would say, on like the surface level. Maybe if I were to rewatch the season front to back, it might be less noticeable, maybe more noticeable. I have no idea. But, you know, that sort of theory that like Robin came up with, or like whoever. No, it was freaking Lucas. Lucas was like, well, if we zap the Demogorgon and then bring him back, I was like, oh, okay, that sounds kind of interesting. So, you know, I really do like a lot of the stuff that involves Max and Holly, these 3 episodes.
Yeah, I like it as well. You know, we get deeper into like what Max has been going through, like what Vecna is going through, I guess, like, or Henry rather. I do find it a bit odd how much they're focusing on Holly. Like, I don't mind it. It's just weird to like essentially bring up a new character, because, you know, Holly was never like a character that mattered until now. You know, she was always just there. So she's basically just like a newer character for this season, and I feel like I don't know if we actually like needed a new character to like have that much importance. I feel like they could have done better to just sort of like wrap everything up, and they kind of did this volume. Like, there was a lot of character moments, whether you like them or not, like, but there were a lot of character moments like that were sort of wrapping up this volume. But I do feel like bringing it up Holly felt a bit odd to bring up now of all seasons, but sure. I guess it kind of helps like Max's development as well, to see like where she's been at for a while. I don't remember how long she's been in a coma for. It's been a while.
She said something like, I think it was 2 years within the show. She was like, I've been stuck here for 2 years. I was like, oh shit, that's been a while.
So it was cool to see them sort of like connect, sort of have like a like sister vibe going on. So that was kind of cool. I do find, like you said, they do a lot of those like planning scenes, and I feel like they do it like every fucking episode now, so it starts to lose a bit of its like grandeur, because I feel like previous seasons, like they had one of these per season, and it felt like really cool, because like, okay, this is how we like stop this threat from happening. But I do feel like every season there's like this big plan move, someone comes up with something stupid and it's like, wait, that could work, and then they do the thing. I feel like that happened like maybe once a season before, but now it's like happening every episode. Also the fact that everything is very convenient, like the portal's opening, like they're just okay, let's just go to the portal, or they fucking did like the Rise of Skywalker shit with the fucking dagger. I'm just like with the magnifying glass. He was using the telescope. I'm like, isn't it from fucking Rise of Skywalker? We're taking that. But yeah, just some things like that are like getting a little like, okay, like it's getting a little weird now. Like everything feels very conveniently like, okay, everything's just working out for the heroes. I feel there's not as much friction as there probably should be in the final season. I mean, just the cast being as big as it is at this point, I'm like, we probably could like kill some people off at this point. But either way, I think the Holly and Max stuff was good. You know, they do have the whole conversation when they're about to like exit to the real world. And at first I thought Max was like a mega asshole, because she's just like, oh, let's see my portal here. You know, Holly, be strong, don't worry about it, I'm gonna go. You ain't got nowhere to go, but that's okay, you can find your way. And then her portal opens, and it's just her getting getting sucked by Vecna. It's just like I don't want to go back into that. Like Max has the nice portal surrounded by her friends. Why didn't he go to the demon world? But still, I thought their conversation was nice. I know some people were nitpicking about it, like, oh, they were talking too long. And, you know, it's like, oh, the portal closed last time, but like, just go. Obviously it's like, you know, movies and shows don't work like that. Like they're gonna let them have their moment. Like it's not like a video game. It's not gonna just close when you're taking too long. So it's whatever. And I thought the conversation was nice that they had with each other, but I do find it was a bit weird before the portal.
Yes. That pep talk, that definitely took me out for a second, because I was like, oh shoot, they're gonna go through together. But I was like, that doesn't really make sense. So then when Max was like, all right, this is my exit, Holly, you gotta like be brave and like be
good luck, bro.
You know, like good luck, have fun. You gotta get your way out of here. You have to sort of overcome your fears. And you know, at that point there were 2 moments where she kind of froze in those moments where she could have maybe potentially have done something. And after that conversation, you know, Holly finally realizes that, yeah, she can be brave. She can do what she needs to do to get, you know, shit done. And, you know, her portal opens and everything. And I was like, you know what? that was like a nice scene. I could understand why some people may not like it. I definitely was taken aback. I was like, whoa, we're having this fucking conversation now. Why didn't you tell her this before? You thought she was gonna like
in the desert. Yeah, like I think because they're walking in the desert for a while, I felt like that would have been a better place to have like that more heartfelt conversation. Like they had like the metaphor talk with like like, oh yeah, I'd be lucky, like my uncle, the metal detector shit. I'm like, okay, I feel like I could have this more heartfelt moment during that sequence. I think that would have made a lot more sense. But
yeah, because I was definitely like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we just stopping everything just to like have this conversation? And like by the end of it, it made sense, but you know, it just felt oddly placed watching it for the first time. Another thing about them together is that they finally figure out what was Henry's memory that's preventing him from going back in there. And that's his sort of, I guess, his first kill, him running into that old guy with the briefcase inside of those deserts, that random ass tunnel. This is my crackpot theory. I theorize that briefcase is the reason why Henry has his powers and why he becomes Vecna, if you will. Because what else is in that briefcase that's so precious and sort of protected like that, right? You know, he's so secretive. He's so, paranoid about like what's happening, like who sent you, like what's going on, and that's why he fucking shot a kid. I was like, what the hell's going on? And you know, Holly's like, why was he so mean to Henry? And I'm like, yeah, you know, she's still a kid, she doesn't understand what the fuck's going on. But you know, me as the viewer, if that doesn't come full circle at some point during the fucking 2-hour finale, I'm gonna be like, what is happening? You know?
I was like, what's in the fucking box, bro?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah, I do subscribe to that theory. I like forgetting season 4 because he always had the powers as like a kid, I guess. But you know, he's obviously a kid here, and I forget like how old he was at the in season 4 rather. I do wonder if that's like maybe the mind flare like particles or whatever, and maybe he like sucked it up and got like powers or something. I'm not too sure, because obviously he got blasted into the upside down and into, you know, we'll talk about the abyss or whatever.
Yeah, the abyss.
And that's where he became Vecna, and then he like came back. But he always did have the psychic powers, and I wonder if this is where he got it originally. I'm not too sure. But we know like Henry's pretty special in his power case. Like him and 11 are like pretty special. So we'll talk about more when that becomes relevant. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was like maybe like something from the abyss or something from the underground or from the upside down rather, that maybe made him have powers to begin with. But I guess we'll see in the finale. So
yeah, maybe it ties in everything together.
Yeah.
What's the next thing you want to pick from here?
Well, I guess I was just talking about the upside down and the abyss. Let me talk about that. So yeah, we kind of like understood, like, so Dustin had this whole thing when they were like in the lab where he figured out that there was research being done in the lab where the upside down isn't alternate dimension, but rather a bridge between two worlds. And that is between, you know, Hawkins or just Earth, I guess, and the place called the Abyss, which is just like some other planet, I assume, or maybe some other dimension in that case. But yeah, the Upside Down itself is just a wormhole, basically. Like it's not a like a dimension. It's just a place that leads to another world, which is pretty interesting. I saw some people saying this kind of like ruins the Upside Down. I don't really think so. I think that's fine. You know, this one I do think makes a bit more sense in terms of like where everything was like going. Like maybe like the Mind Flayer like found a way to enter through the Upside Down and was able to like bring in like demigorgons and stuff in there. I don't know if Henry was always in charge of like bringing demigorgons in there to begin with since season 1. Again, this stuff was like definitely retconned to like fit into the new lore, so I don't know. But I think it's pretty interesting having this world where the Mind Flayer was originally from, since, you know, the Upside Down actually doesn't have any life in it. It's just kind of like this like parallel like wormhole place that has like no life in it. That's why when they were doing the crawl, there was like no demigorgons or anything like that. It was just like empty. That's because Vecna was like kind of recovering from his like beating from the last season. So it makes sense why there was no like native like I guess like creatures in there, because it's not supposed to be. It's just like a wormhole. So that's pretty interesting. I don't think it really like hurts the lore of the show or hurts anything about it. I just think it's all right. Like I think it's some extra world building, and I guess it makes Vecna's plan of being like he wants to start fresh and kind of fuse this like like abyss place to the real world using the upside down and kind of like combine them together, making like a fresh start. So pretty grand plan for him. But yeah, I don't think it really changes too much about the show's mythos. But I can see how it makes the upside down itself seem a lot less cool. But yeah.
Yeah. I personally really do like the sort of wormhole theory because obviously it brings it back to season 1 where, they were talking about that with Mr. Clark all the way back in those days and how the wormhole theory was actually true between the Upside Down and Hawkins and now the Abyss. A lot of the new stuff that we are learning within, I would say, season 4 and this season 5, definitely feel like new stuff that they did not plan since season 1. Because, a lot of people on Twitter and on the internet in general are now going back to season 1 being like, wow, what the fuck happened to this show? It's like, yeah, it's been like that for like since season 3. Like season 1 was a lightning in a bottle kind of season. It was Winona Ryder's show and it somehow fucking exploded and it was so good it spawned multiple other seasons, and the Duffer Brothers probably had no idea that the show was going to be as good as it was. And ever since then, they've been trying to either respark that magic or just continue the story, continue the lore, and this is just the newest part of it. Not to say that I dislike it. I personally really do like that the Upside Down isn't necessarily the big grand thing about it. It's about the Abyss, which we did see briefly within season 4 when Henry was talking. Henry was talking about getting, zapped into this other place that very much did not look like the Upside Down. And I like that when Holly, comes to, she's like, oh, okay, where the hell am I? And she's like, where the fuck is my house? This is not the Upside Down. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's so funny. She gets trolled by Max twice because she's like, oh, when you're in the Upside Down, don't worry. Just look for your house. It looks like Hawkins and it's like some other fucking planet. I'm like, geez, man. Sucks to be her.
The balls on that kid to, just lift up that piece of whatever and then just dive into the Upside Down, falling straight down. I thought she fucking splatted.
I also thought she splatted too, bro. I'm like, oh my God, what happened to her?
Yeah, because next time we see Nancy looks fucking horrified. I was like, yo, what happened? But no, she just got...
I thought she got splatted, yeah.
She got sucked back in by Vecna, because Vecna loves playing games for whatever goddamn reason. But yeah, honestly, I don't mind this new Upside Down Abyss sort of lore to it, but it is very obvious and clear that the Duffer Brothers and Netflix had no idea that this was going to go on for 5 seasons.
No, I don't think so.
But I do love that, Dustin is the one to sort of figure it all out. If it was going to come down to these 4 individuals, Steve, Dustin, Jonathan, and Nancy, it most likely going to be Dustin because Dustin's the fucking nerd. And that little sort of conflict that he has with Steve within these 3 episodes are great just because Gaten Matarazzo and Joe Carey are fucking fantastic actors, and I love their scenes together because they really do bring that emotion and sort of what it's like to have that friend and sort of drift away from them. And, they're guys. They don't know how to express their emotions all that clearly. And, by the end of it, they're like, if you die, I die. They are there for each other. They are best friends to the very end, and I love them.
Yeah, I mean they're still my favorite characters in the whole series. Like, I don't think that's really changed since like they were introduced. So I think they definitely are the best written. Just like they acted super well. I think that conflict was believable. Like I think the whole Eddie thing was a big impact for Dustin, and I think Steve was like kind of jealous about Eddie a bit, and just like how he felt like his life, he sacrificed his life for nothing. Like I thought that whole conversation and blow up was pretty good. Them fighting it out, and then later, being like, hey man, I didn't mean that shit. Like I'm sorry. Like it's whatever. And then them like just hugging it out. Like, and that was great, man. Like I think Dustin and Steve are definitely like such a big heart of this show. Like they really do. Like anytime I see those two, I'm just like, yeah, this is why I do like this show. Those two are great, dude. I love them. So,
yeah, they are one of the best duos within this show. Jonathan and Nancy, that breakup scene that the Duffer Brothers had to sadly explain. So, look, let me just get this out of the way. Like when I was watching that scene, I would say ever since season 4 up until that moment, it was all building up to that. Because you could see that Jonathan and Nancy are kind of like on a rocky ship in terms of their relationship. Then at the start of season 5, they're maybe trying to rekindle it. Nancy is still being distant. Jonathan thinks that maybe if I marry her, everything will change. Everything will be sort of forgotten. But in this moment where they think they're both going to die because fucking Nancy shotgunned what she thought was the force field, and then everything just started melting around them, and they think they're going to die. They think everything's going to fucking blow over. And And then Nancy just starts confessing. She just starts blurring any truth that she's hidden to herself, to Jonathan, and be like, I don't like the Clash. I don't like the music that you like. I don't like this. I don't like that. And then Jonathan does the same thing. And it very much felt like they were finally getting everything off their chest. And then within that moment, Jonathan's like, all right, this is the one last thing that I've been hiding. Here's the ring. And will you unpropose to me? And I was like, oh, okay. Like, they're not going to get back together. Like, they are breaking up. It's very clear that they're fucking breaking up. And the fact that Stranger Things fans go online and they're like, why are they hugging and why are they cheering afterwards? It's like, they thought they were going to fucking die, guys. They thought their lives were over. They thought they were gone, donezo. That's why even after that scene, Dustin just hugs Nancy because he's like, I thought you were fucking dead because you shot the thing. You know, like, it's very clear that this scene is them breaking up. I could see how some people might interpret it as another way, but I feel like the dialogue, the subtext, everything's fucking there to show that they are no longer together. And yeah, I just think Stranger it's just another case that like Stranger Things fans like in general are just fucking stupid. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's I guess I could see how people could see it as like maybe they were saying all this and then like, you know, just to get things off. Obviously they thought they were gonna die, so they wanted to like, you know, make sure everything was out there. Like there's no miscommunication of if they do die, like this is how they truly feel about each other. Mm-hmm. But I guess maybe afterward people thought like, hey, like they aired out all their grievances so they could be like a stronger couple together afterward. But it is clear like I just don't think they're gonna work out. Like, you know, they've been trying for like the last few seasons and obviously like it just isn't working out. So but you know they can still be friends, right? Like, you know, that's still like what they're probably doing at the end too. Like they still like you know, love each other, just not like that anymore. You know, it just happens, you know, that, you know, that's just what happens, right? So
it's just how life is, guys.
So it's not like just like don't care about each other or anything. It's just like, yeah, like that's just how it be. Like, still care about each other. And you know, if you're gonna die right there and there, and like you're gonna like you're gonna be like, oh, I mean, at least we're not dead.
At least the other person knows everything, right? Like, like they're not holding anything back anymore, right? So
yeah. So I actually do think it was a good scene. Like, I actually do think a lot of the scenes at the laboratory were pretty good. I think like those two, or I guess these four characters, had a lot of like baggage going on. So it was a cool way to sort of like get all those loose ends out of the way before the finale. Just so they could be stronger characters together. I do think these four are pretty strong characters to begin with. Obviously, like Dustin and Steve are my goats, but like Nancy and Jonathan are also pretty good. So it was nice to see them all get their sort of like final character growths out of the way. Honestly, this whole like volume was about that. Just getting all that stuff out of the way. Just if they executed well or not is like, you know, another thing. But yeah, I thought the laboratory stuff was pretty good.
Okay. I guess real quick, 11 and 8. Obviously, it was the big shocking reveal, and then they don't dive into it that deeply, all that much. I would say within these 3 episodes, like every single time 8 is in a scene, 11 is there, and 8 is kind of putting in this idea that like 11, you might have to die to like stop everything from happening. Because I think when 8 is revealing what has happened between season 2 up until now, you know, the government found them, shot her friends, killed all of them, and then now they're using her blood to try to recreate and restart the program to make more people or more kids with powers, and using all these pregnant women was kind of trippy. I was like, oh shit, it's just one. And then she went into another room, it's 2. It's like, it's so many. I was like, what the fuck are they doing? So I really do like that backstory. And, you know, 8, I could see where Hopper's like, I don't trust her all that much. So maybe that's foreshadowing something later on. Maybe 8 does something within the Upside Down within the finale. That's like a big betrayal moment. I don't know what the fuck's happening there, but it does seem like 8 she has a ulterior motive in terms of what she wants for 11. Because, you know, there's like that other thing where like her name's Jane and it's like she doesn't even fucking call herself Jane, you know. Anyways.
Yeah, and this whole thing with 8, like, you know, obviously that like retcon a lot of stuff because this probably wasn't the original plan for her to come back like this. I mean, I give them props for even bringing her back. You know, I thought they were just going to ignore that this whole thing existed. But it is cool that they are restarting that like the Psychic Kid program. And it does make sense how they had like no success or why they're so keen on capturing Henry or 11 because their blood is the most potent. Sure, that makes sense. And with 8, like, they just can't get that same amount of like powers necessarily. It just kills the mom and the baby. So you know, I could see, I do think she is probably telling the truth. Like, I don't know, but it probably is like not the whole truth. But I do think they want 11, and I do think they will make more like psychic kids using her blood instead of like Henry's, because Henry's like way more annoying to get than her. So I think she's telling the truth there, but she obviously is like hiding something. I don't know what, but it seems to be important for the finale. And I mean, I don't know how the show is going to end, but if 11 does end up sacrificing herself, that wouldn't like surprise me either.
Yeah.
Just kind of to put the whole cycle to a stop, like for the upside down, the psychic kids, like everything, right? It'll just be all over at that point. So
yeah,
I guess we'll see what they do once they're going to fight Vecna. But yeah, I thought that little plotline with the military was pretty interesting.
Speaking of 11, Mike and 11, that's another thing that I've been seeing on social media is like their relationship and like, are they still dating? Are they still boyfriend, girlfriend kind of thing? Which, now that I look back on this season so far, it is very much like they feel like friends, but also there's moments where they're having those heart to hearts. And maybe that's just because they are, so close with each other. So I don't know. It seems a little weird that the Duffer brothers are not going into their relationship or maybe not like that, but it's like, it's very odd to see the main couple of this show, the one that, people have been rooting for ever since season 1 and season 2, that they don't feel as close on screen as they used to be.
Yeah, I feel like out of all the couples in this show, this volume gave everyone like a huge moment with each other. Mm-hmm. Like I'm sure they're gonna save it for the finale because they're like that they're like the original couple, I guess. But like it's weird they got like not much this volume. Like I feel like they got some scenes, but it wasn't like you said, like they don't really feel like that close to each other. And I don't know if that's like because of the writing or because that's just how it is. But I guess we'll see. I'm sure they're gonna have a huge moment in the finale. Because it's the finale, right?
Yeah,
but as of right now, it definitely feels... yeah, hopefully. If they don't, that'd be really weird. But as of right now, yeah, they're the only like one that has like a lot of loose ends. Like, I don't know how they feel about each other. I don't know like what they're thinking right now. Like I don't know what's going on with those two. So, and obviously that's very important because Elle and Mike, like that's like the whole thing. That's like the whole show right there, So since season 1, so it'd be very weird to them not have like a big moment with each other. At the finale, so I guess we'll see once that time comes. But yeah, they're the only two that feel like they really are missing something, and I don't know if that's because of the acting or the writing or what. But well, I guess we'll see.
All right, so let's talk about episode 7 quickly. Before then, forgot to mention Miss Wheeler saved Max and that other group within the real world.
Yeah,
I was like, okay.
She threw that fucking gas canister.
She threw that gas canister in the dryer, and it distracted the dumb dogs. So yeah, there was actual purpose to her being alive, because that's like one of my main complaints about this show is that they refuse to kill characters off.
She looks so dead, bro. I'm like, there's no way. Like when they showed that flashback again with Holly, I'm like, bro, she was dead as shit. Like there's no way to survive that. But all right.
But she did have a purpose. I think maybe they could have killed Ted because Ted seems like he's fucking useless within the rest of the story.
Yeah, we haven't even seen him. No one gives a shit about him in the universe. So,
but yeah, episode 7, it starts off with Max and Lucas sort of having their moment. Max waking up. I will admit, I fucking cried watching that scene because I just love them so much as characters, and I think Sadie Sink and Caleb just delivered such a fantastic performance. Good. Like they really brought their A game in that scene, and I was like, yeah, that was fucking woo. Tears.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool for Max to get a lot of like screen time before this as well. But seeing her finally like wake up in the real world, that was really good. I like it a lot. Did you overuse running up that hill a lot this season? But it's still good. It still hits. So I'm happy that she's like back with the gang. It's really good. So
yeah. And then just like the rest of the episode is kind of just them like figuring out like what the fuck are we gonna do? How are we gonna figure this out? And and then it's Steve out of everyone, it's Steve to come up with the play to be like, hey, why don't we just like let the Abyss come closer to us, and then we'll go up, because Hopper's like, all right, well, we're gonna take a chopper, then we're gonna go up. And I was like, okay, dude, you're fucking meathead ass brain, like, okay, sure, whatever.
Just bring the chopper there for you. Yeah.
We're just gonna go up, save everyone, kill the Abyss, and then come back down. I was like, all right, sure, whatever. But Steve had this genius plan about the beanstalk or whatever, and it's like, yeah, just have the Abyss come closer, and then we will execute once Vecna has that in place.
Yeah, I mean it's a good plan. It makes it so there's a little more stakes in there, like just waiting for the for the planet to like come down so they could like do their plan. I'm sure there's gonna be close calls in there. It's kind of like fucking Majora's Mask. Wait for the fucking moon to like almost fall to where you're at, so Link could do his shit. So I guess it's sort of the same thing there. And my goat Steve making the plan. Always good to see.
But yeah, I mean, we also had like that little scene with Holly like waking up and being like, guys, Mr. What's-It is not what he's supposed to be. And he's like, Derek, help me. And Derek's like, I saw my parents and my sister die. Nah, you're bugged. And then she like tries to run away and all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, now we get into the big one. The big thing everyone has been talking about when it comes to this volume, which is Will's coming out scene. I mean, yeah. I think the reason why this scene doesn't work out is, for one, there's too many people in the scene. I think
there's way too many people.
I think everyone in the cast did not need to be in that scene. When I saw 8 in the background
why is 8 there?
with a shot of 11, I was like, why the fuck is 8 here? This is so funny. But also another thing as to why this moment doesn't work is because we as the viewer, we know that Will's gay. Like, we know that like that's gonna happen, and that's something that he has to confess to himself and obviously to his loved one slowly, right? Because we're both straight heterosexual men, so we don't necessarily know firsthand what it's like to come out to our friends and family about, guys, I'm straight. It's like that's like a normal thing. But to other people, coming out as gay, lesbian, freaking bisexual, all of like that whole spectrum, that's something completely different that we don't get.
Right, yeah.
But I think for this scene, I think anyone in that would not want to confess to like their whole fucking family all at once. I think you might want to tell like your sister or your brother or like your best friend or like your mom at first. Because I think if the scene was just Will confessing to Joyce and then maybe Mike walks in or maybe afterwards he tells Mike, Will, and Dustin, closely together, and Elle, whatever the case is, I think telling everyone in that scene all at once was a bit much. But yeah, I think that's the reason why the scene doesn't work as well, is because one, there's too many people, and two, we as the viewers, we already know what's coming out from this scene and what's going to happen at the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like the too many people thing. Like, I think at max, it should have been like the original crew, his mom and his brother.
Yes.
Like, if they wanted to like have as many people, but I do think it probably should have been like smaller than that. Maybe just his mom, like Joyce and Jonathan. Like, I think like it's so close to being like really good, because like Jonathan's reaction to it was honestly like really sweet. Like I thought that was really nice, and like and that was probably like the best part of it. And Joyce's reaction as well. That's why I think like those two had the biggest reaction to it, which makes sense because they're his family. And I think that was great. And maybe he could have had a separate scene where he told the original like crew like later as well. I don't know. I feel like there was ways to do this because remember bringing up the Robin scene when she told Steve, and I know she had like the truth serum shit, but like that scene was handled a lot better because it was like a one-on-one conversation, and I think it was just handled a lot better in that season rather than this season where.
And to add, we as the viewer, we didn't know that Robin was gay.
Yeah, plus we didn't know that either. Yeah, so. And this one I knew is bro, just say it. Not to be mean, but I think it should have been like kept smaller, like you said. I think the reaction of Joyce and Jonathan were really nice. Like that was honestly a really sweet part of it. But just having like 8 just stand there, just like why is she here?
Yes.
like why are half of these characters here? Like I feel like it should have just been his family and like the OG crew at most. Like I think that would have been fine.
Yeah. And like I get like the reason why like story wise and like narrative wise is like Will
because Vecna would use it against him or something.
Yes,
like
Will has to Will has to accept himself entirely and sort of let that speak for itself, and then he could truly meet his potential when he gets to the Upside Down and faces Vecna and the Abyss and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, fine, like that totally makes sense. But I think doing it in that way, in this long of a sort of dialogue and also with that many people, it's like you're losing us. And as soon as I saw like the Me Too thing where like they were all getting up one after another, I was like, this shit is fucking corny. I'm so sorry. But and then there was like a little bit left where like they were going into the Upside Down, and then it just cuts, boom, finale, 2-hour finale, which we will see within a few days now. So yeah, it is just so crazy that like they filmed that scene and then apparently there were like a 12-hour reshoot or whatever, like 24 hours worth of shit that they were just trying to get this one scene right. And they just couldn't come up with the fact that like, hey, maybe we should like do it smaller, like not have as many people. Because I think one of the Duffer brothers said that it was just Will and Joyce. And then they were like, something wasn't working about the scene. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm cuffing opium or something like that, but I think that would have been better. But obviously,
I also think it would have been better, yeah.
This is the product that we got, and now I think it is now the lowest rated episode on IMDb, which is very funny.
I still don't agree with that. I think the 8 episode was still way worse than this.
Yes.
We still got like, it's still relevant to the plot. and like the other one wasn't. So I definitely don't agree with like it being the lowest rated episode ever. Like that's a little much. I don't think it was particularly like amazing or great, but I still think there was some pretty good character moments. Again, even like the Will moment, like it just wasn't handled super well. It just felt too grandiose, but like I felt like they had something there. Like I think the Joyce and Jonathan reaction were really good, and they should have just kept it to those two. Like I think that would have been a lot better, just so he had like someone that knew rather than having everyone. Especially like they're telling the dude that you like you have a crush on, like right to like that. That's weird. And apparently they had to like reconfirm on Twitter that that Mike did understand
or something
that
like
he
that,
did like him or something. So I was just like, did he though? Like I don't know. It's so weird. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, that was just a lot to take it all within one scene with that many people. So
yeah, so I think it just loses a bit of something with that.
If you're watching on YouTube, you the finale is already out, and we'll talk about it next episode. But for now, this is all we got. So. Yeah, I guess, well, I'll leave all my judgment until the finale. Like, I feel like that's the only way I could properly assess this season, if it's done anything well, is by how well the finale is. If it's bad, then yeah. Oh boy, we will not hear the end of it.
Yeah, so we'll see. I give people that are watching it in theaters, because I'm like, that's a lot of like pressure to make sure it's good.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna be watching at home, so I don't need to worry about like, damn, that sucked if it is, or...
Because if it's bad, I can't imagine like some people just like being rowdy and all that other stuff. But hopefully to those people going out in theaters that they have fun. Let's talk about some news, some entertainment and gaming news. Speaking of theaters, Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender will skip theaters and debut on Paramount Plus alongside new Seven Haven series. So Paramount have decided to pull the Legend of Aang Avatar movie from a theatrical release and just have it premiere on Paramount Plus. And obviously, the reaction online was fucking negative. Everyone was like, what the fuck do you mean you're pulling this shit from theaters? Do you not want money? Do you not want people to watch this thing in theaters and talk about it and rave it and see it on the big screen? Because I think a lot of movies that go straight to streaming, whether it is Netflix, Paramount Plus, whatever, it never has as big of an impact as if it were to hit theaters. And people who even worked on this film were like, hey, like there's some amazing and crazy shit going on within this film. It sucks that you're gonna have to watch it on Paramount Plus on your TV or on your computer or on your phone, because as someone who goes to the theater regularly, that movie theater experience is special to me and to so many people. And seeing a animated Avatar movie, mind you, with this big of a budget and sort of creative sort of thing going on, and like people are not going to be able to see it in that format, it sucks. There's obviously petitions going on. There's, hopefully Paramount reverses their decision, but we'll see. Because, Paramount seemed to be very stuck to be like, hey, subscribe to Paramount Plus, which is like, is that fucking worth it? Probably not.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 2D animated as well, right?
Yes, it is a 2D animated Avatar: The Last Airbender movie.
And that's crazy because, obviously 2D anime movies don't come out very often besides, like, I guess, anime movies. But, watching something like Chainsaw Man, just like watching it on the big screen, like everything just looks so beautiful and great. And, I'm still like, man, 2D animation still goes super hard. It would have been great to see something like this from like a Western studio, since most of the time it's obviously going to be, CG, like 3D animated stuff.
Yeah.
We don't see a lot of like 2D animated things from Western like people like ever anymore in the big screen. So it would have been really cool to see this. And, they've been talking about this for a while, that they really wanted this in theaters. Like ever since they started this like big Avatar revival project that Nickelodeon was doing. They're like, no, this is going to be at theaters. We want people to see this in theaters. And then last minute, like, no, it's not going to be in theaters anymore, which is very unfortunate, especially if like the people making this had this in mind for like a theater experience. And now it's just not, right? Like, it just feels really bad. So yeah, hopefully like petitions and stuff can make it work. Maybe we'll get some limited run stuff going on, like maybe some theater show it off for like a week or two. That would be kind of nice, but I guess it's up to Paramount to be the final judge of that, and we know how that goes. They like to save money. They don't want to take any risks. Like 2D animated movie, like nah, fuck that. We're not gonna do that shit. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, very unfortunate if it doesn't come in, because this is probably the one I have the most excitement for. Yeah. The Netflix stuff is like whatever. Like I didn't really care that much about that, but this being like an actual like sequel like series, that got me a lot more excited for it. So hopefully it does come around and we get to see it in the big screen. But if not, that would suck.
My feeling as to why they're doing this is to not just pump up Paramount Plus numbers, but to they're also underestimating the brand value that Avatar: The Last Airbender has, right? Because I think this show is bigger than I think we even notice. Because obviously, I think a lot of us as adults, we're like 27 now. God fucking damn it, my back. But
I'm 28 soon. So.
People our age, people even younger, people even older than us, they have watched this show, and they come into it. They're like, oh, it's like a fucking kids cartoon, right? And like, there's so much depth, so much great character development, and just great storytelling. And people have really fallen in love with this series that. A sequel movie of these characters on the big screen, I think that would do numbers for them. Maybe they see it as a sense because I know Paramount, they're also the ones behind Ninja Turtles. Maybe they were like, well, fucking Ninja Turtles has been around for so long, and that Mutant Mayhem movie, it didn't do as well as we thought it would, so we're not going to put it on the big screen. And I know the SpongeBob movie's in theaters right now. That's probably not doing as well as they thought it would either.
Big pants. Yeah.
I think Avatar... sort of Aang, The Last Airbender, this film, I think it would do numbers for them. But, now that they want to put on Paramount Plus, if they reverse that decision, they still have a chance to make that box office money that is a lot more lucrative than it were to be on the streaming service.
Yeah, I just think it wouldn't hurt to like have it in theaters. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I think it's like really disrespectful for the original creators that really want this to like be seen as many people on the big screen as possible. Even if it doesn't do super well, like I would appreciate it. I will see it.
Yeah.
So do it. Alrighty. So we're gonna get to a lot of gaming news, a lot of like shakeups here. So Sucker Punch, obviously people that made Sly Cooper, Ghost of Tsushima. Brian Fleming is going to be stepping down as a studio head, and new leadership is going to be taking over Sucker Punch. So now there's two studio heads, Jason Connell,
yes.
and Adrian Bentley.
Yes, Bentley.
So yeah, those two are going to be now in charge of Sucker Punch Productions. There's actually very similar to what happened to Insomniac last year, I believe, when, why am I forgetting his name? When the main head also stepped down. Ted Price, there you go, Ted Price. When Ted Price stepped down, and I think it's like 3 leaderships in Insomniac now or something.
Yeah.
Sucker Punch is going through the same thing. I mean, it makes sense. These guys are getting old. They've been with the company for so long, and I'm sure like the new generation could be able to handle it. It sucks. Like, when Ted Price left, I'm like, is Ratchet in trouble?
Stop.
But I'm sure there's still a lot of people in the Sonic that does care about Ratchet. I just need one more game, man. I need them to wrap up this Lombax dimension so bad. And, with Sucker Punch, obviously, they're a company sort of like Naughty Dog where they like to move on. So, like, Sly, like, they're done with Sly. Infamous, they're probably done with Infamous. And with Ghost of Tsushima, it wouldn't be surprised me if that was, Viote was, like, sort of like the last one they do for a bit. And they want to move on to a new IP. But, Sucker Punch has made nothing but quality. Basically its whole existence. So I'm hoping that these two keep up the cycle. All their games are great. And yeah, I'm just excited to see what they do next. If it's a new Ghost game, if it's a new IP, I'll be totally down with it. Because Sucker Punch, again, does nothing but quality. So hopefully they keep up that pace with this new leadership. So yeah.
Yeah. Sucker Punch Productions, obviously probably my favorite PlayStation Studios team, obviously. So to see their CEO or sort of studio head Brian Fleming step down sucks, but he's been around the games industry for so long. He probably just wants to break. He just wants to enjoy his retirement. And they are taking a page out of Insomniac's book, like you said, and they are bringing up 2 people, not just one, to be the new studio heads. And I think that's great. I think having multiple minds, multiple chefs in the kitchen to sort of work around, like, hey, like, do you think this is good? Or should we do this? Should we move on with the Ghost series? Should we move on to something else? Should we return to Infamous? Should we do this? Yada, yada, yada. I think it is great to have multiple people in a sort of leadership position and not just one person, because, that's a lot of fucking pressure for one person. So, just to sort of spread it out maybe evenly amongst these 2 people, I think it is going to be great. I think Ghost of Yode is still one of the best games released this year, which we will talk about more in just a little bit. But, it does seem like that formula was kind of done with, I would say. Maybe they want to move on to something else. Maybe they want to make a last and final Ghost of game. We'll see. But yeah, I'm excited to see the future of Sucker Punch Productions.
Yeah, I guess we'll see where they go from there. Best of luck to them, because when Ted Price levels out, I hope Sonic is good, but I think they will be fine. So yeah, we'll see as their games,
Wolverine still looks good to me.
Yeah, Wolverine still looks good. So yeah, we'll see how things go. So yeah.
All right, so I'm going to read these headlines, and then I'll let you take over, because you know more about Larian Studios and also Expedition 33. So first up, the Baldur's Gate Studios Larian is using genAI for Divinity, but they are not looking to trim down teams to replace them. So Damian, stop me at any moment if I'm getting this wrong, but I'm pretty sure they aren't replacing anyone. They aren't not hiring new humans, but they're giving their team the option to use AI if they want to maybe come up with inspiration, ideas, anything like that.
Yeah, so they're using it for the concept phase, so like anything like concept art or whatever, but not to use as concept art. Like they would concept artists could use it to get ideas, and then they would get actual artists to like do it for them. I did hear a lot of the developers or ex-developers from Larian said they are kind of forcing this on them. Like a lot of them don't want to use it, but they are kind of forced to use it because the CEO is big on the AI thing. And me personally, I think using AI in the concept phase feels like the worst time to use it, because if anything, that feels like the best play. That's the most fun thing about projects, right? Because the concept phase is like you're just making shit up. Like you're just thinking of any crazy thing you could put in your game. It doesn't really have to make sense. It doesn't really have to do anything. It just has to kind of look cool, spark some creativeness in your mind. Mm-hmm. Obviously artists. I'm not an artist myself, but like from what I've read, a lot of them do use references online, and to a lot of these big CEOs, like, oh, AI is the same deal, right? But I feel like when you're looking at references online, you're looking at other artists' like intentions, like oh, why did it make this? Why, like there's thought behind it. Where AI, you're not really getting any of that. Like maybe you could visualize it more in your head if it like I'm gonna write this prompt and like it comes out in my head. But I don't know. I just feel like using it in the concept phase feels like kind of the worst place to use it. Like it just feels like it kind of taking away the joy of game development in general, and it feels more like a content machine just to like pump stuff out faster. And I guess I'll talk about the other thing too with Sandfall in a second, but after Sandfall, I'll talk about it right now. So Sandfall Interactive, the people that made Expedition 33, this article became hot after they won Game of the Year, because people are like really trying to slander this game super hard. But this was actually, the people knew about this since the game came out. I personally didn't know about it because it was underreported. But there were placeholder textures that were using genAI for posters, and that was about it. Sandfall's like CEO was just like, yeah, we were like fucking around with it to make some textures, but we thought it looked bad, and then we didn't use it. But some of them might have been like leftovers, so then they patched it after the first patch. And if it was any other company, I would kind of call bullshit. But when I was playing all of Expedition 33, I really didn't notice anything that looked genAI. I'm pretty good at like spotting that stuff to begin with. Like whenever it's like some shitty thing on like social media or whatever, I'm like, that's AI, that looks like shit. But with that game, I didn't really notice anything like that. And by the time I played it, that shit was patched out anyway. So I do believe them. And these games take a while to develop as well. It's not like Expedition came out in like a year, right? Like this game took like 3 years to make. So like genAI was still like a really new thing back in like 2022 or whatever. They started developing this game. So it wouldn't surprise me they actually did just try it out just because like it's a new thing. and they're like, oh no, this does look like ass, so we're just gonna like not use it. So I do believe them more than like Larian would just straight up saying, oh no, like we are using this shit. Like Larian like has like, yeah, we're gonna be using genAI. Like, yeah, it's not gonna replace anyone, but we're gonna use it for the concept phase. And then with Sandfall, they're like, no, we tried it and it kind of sucks. I wish they had like a more definitive statement besides that, but that's just kind of how it is at the moment. And after Sandfall Interactive, you know, that whole debacle, we got a lot of other companies just like admitting it now. Like, I think Kojima was just like, you know, we got to embrace. Well, I don't think he said that, but he's just like, it's going to be everywhere. I think the Kingdom Come 2 developers were like, I think they used it for, I think some of the other translations or something. I could be wrong with that. I know there was something with them using AI as well. Level 5, this is the big thing. Level 5, the people that made Professor Layton and Yokai Watch, they were just like, yeah, no, we're using AI. Like for whatever. So if you're excited for the new Layton game, yeah, just be prepared for that. So yeah, definitely unfortunate. And it doesn't even seem to be raising production like stuff too much. Like they're just using it to make like a thing they could just came up with in their head, and then they redraw it anyway. I'm just like, what was the point of that? Like, I feel like this like is not helping anyone do anything faster. It's just kind of like an extra step for no reason, like just forcing artists and developers to use it for because like stock value or some shit. I don't know. I think it's dumb. I think the Sandfall thing feels a bit overblown to me personally. But for all the other developers that are just being like, oh yeah, we're just using it, I do think that is kind of lame. I think genAI doesn't have a lot of use in like more creative fields unless it's like strictly as a tool. And a lot of these things are just like, hey, come up with this idea for me, and then we'll like redraw it. I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like you're missing the point of like concept art. And also concept artist is like a real job to begin with. So like that's kind of like getting into their shit. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's icky. I don't like it.
Yeah, my opinion on AI has not really changed ever since its introduction. I think AI within the creative space should never be used, even if it is in the concept phase. Just like get ideas, like write a prompt, like give me like 10 trending gaming YouTube ideas, which I've never done. I've never searched that shit up. I know YouTube has like their own like AI prompts that you could like look up for like video ideas or whatever, and every time I look at them I'm like, this is fucking trash, this is not good. And even using AI in those phases, in the concept phase, in the sort of planning staging phase, you're still using AI in your final product because it came from AI. It's not coming from your brain as a human. It's sort of other things within the world that have inspired you, whether you saw like a piece of art on Twitter and you were drawing inspiration from that and sort of using that as a reference. There's so much media and so much entertainment out there that we could draw inspiration from. Why the fuck are we using AI as like a shortcut to do that? It makes literally no sense. And I don't know why Larian Studios are even sort of entertaining this when they were really in a lot of people's good graces in their pocket with Baldur's Gate 3. A lot of people really freaking came out of the woodworks, if you will, and really dove into gaming because of Baldur's Gate 3. And now with Divinity, people are so excited for that game. But now that AI is involved, people are second guessing, should we support this game? Should we actually buy the game? Even though the final product isn't using AI, the potential of the concept and how things came from point A to point B, point A might have used AI. So AI at any stage of the creative process, I think, means that you used AI. Even though you have a real artist, a real human being drawing the stuff afterwards, if the ideas and the sort of concept stages come from AI, it's AI, which is what a lot of people were in those Twitter responses when that fucking CEO, his first words were, holy shit, you guys are blowing this out of proportion or whatever. I was like, this is not a good way to respond, brother.
Bro,
this
what's the PR?
This is terrible. What are you doing?
Especially nowadays. Like, I feel like if you're fucking around with AI back in like 2022 or something, and you couldn't possibly knew what it would lead to, like that's whatever. But I do feel like if you're starting a new game now, like you're developing a new game and fully embracing it, I do feel like all the awful stuff AI is doing for like environmental issues, lack of creativity, slop, like losing jobs, like you know what it comes with. So yeah, at this point now it feels a lot less like understanding if you use like full on genAI in like current year. So yeah.
And with the whole indie game awards thing, one of my coworkers told me about that because he's a fucking Expedition 33 hater because he hated the fact that freaking Expedition 33 swept the awards, and I was like,
Yeah.
what do you mean they took away the Game of the Year thing? And then I had to look it up, and I was like, oh, it's the Indie Game Awards. It's not the goddamn Jeff Keighley Game Awards. He didn't take that away from them. I was like, what the hell is this, guys? You guys are fucking falling for this bait. That might be bait, kind of, just because they saw Expedition 33 Game of the Year revoked. It's like, oh shit, yeah, fuck this game. I fucking hate Expedition 30. It's like, what are we doing here? Okay, yeah, it is 100% within the right of the Indie Game Awards to take away that from Expedition 33. Do I think the sort of studio did it maliciously with AI? No, because it was in a very early stage of the game. You would have to see it without updating the game. You would literally have to go on Steam, download the game, and then once it's ready to play, you don't update it at all, and you just fucking go into it, and you see those genAI sort of poster placements, which like they admitted that they're like, yeah, that is genAI. That's just something that we had as like placeholders. We knew it was dog shit, and then we patched it out. It just got, not necessarily swept under the rug, but it just fell through the cracks and not something that they 100% noticed, which, is on them. And it is, like I said, 100% within the right of the Indie Game Awards to revoke that from Expedition 33. That's fair. I think that is completely fine. But for people to like witch hunt and sort of slander Expedition 33 just because it was fucking using genAI at like literally 0.001 at like the starting finish line kind of thing, where like not a lot of people even noticed it or even knew about it because it was underreported because it didn't seem like that big of a deal. It's not being brought up again because the Indie Game Awards revoked it, and the whole Game Awards fiasco that people are so talking about. But hey, you know what? Next game. This is literally the next game I am playing. I'm playing Expedition 33 because I want to see what the game's all about, and I don't think them using AI for some posters really diminishes the game at all. If it was AI to like enhance the performances or like the in-game character models or anything like that, I think that would have been another story. But I think this team and this studio knows more than anyone within the gaming industry that like humans and passion behind a project can make anything happen. Because these guys, they made something that really took the industry by storm. They literally went on Reddit, was like, guys, how do I make a video game? They found their fucking composer on SoundCloud or whatever, and he makes the most beautiful music you will ever fucking hear in your life. Like, it is insane to see the amount of feats and achievements that this game has done, and it was all done with humans. Yeah, sure, these fucking posters were genAI, but like I said, they said that those were placements, which I am very much to believe because I don't think they would use AI otherwise. Now, if like a year or so from now they fucking change their mind and they're using AI, don't come crying at me, because right now on December 29, 2025, they are very much against using AI, and I believe them.
Yeah, I do too. I'm going to talk more about this game in like literally 2 seconds when we talk about top 10 games. So I'm going to go more into that. But yeah, I think genAI is stinky and I don't like it. So very true.
All right, so now let's get into our top 10 games of 2025. Me and Damian are going to paste our little charts here into the Google Docs so then we could see for the first time what each other's Game of the Year lists are.
Yes.
So my list.
Drop yours first. Okay.
My list consists of I will just start from the honorable mentions, which are 5 games that I played this year from indies. So in no particular order, we got Is This Seat Taken, Shooty Shooty Robot Invasion, Bakaru, TMNT Tactical Takedown, and Duranko Wonko. But my top 10 consists of Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, Kirby Air Riders, Sonic Rumble, Marvel Cosmic Invasion, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, Mario Kart World, Ghosts of Yote, Split Fiction, Dispatch, and my Game of the Year is Donkey Kong Bananza.
Yeah, so for me, I have my honorable mentions. So starting from the bottom as well, and then going to the top. Deltarune, this one's kind of weird because it technically isn't out, but it's really good. So yeah, Deltarune, Monster Hunter Wilds, Xenoblade X Definitive Edition, Sonic Racing Crossroads. You could put this and Mario Kart. I just didn't feel like putting another fucking slot for Mario Kart, so you can put both of those, whatever. It's kind of cheating, whatever. 11, Doom. Now, top 10. Number 10, Pokemon ZA. Number 9, Borderlands 4. Number 8, Kirby Air Riders. Number 7, Ghost of Yote. Number 6, Hades 2. Number 5, Split Fiction. Number 4, Trails in the Sky. I'm going to talk a lot about that. Number 3, Dispatch. Number 2, Donkey Kong. And number 1, Expedition 33. So
okay. I mean, I'm not going to talk about my honorable mentions at all, really, because they're just small little indie games. I think they're all great within their own right, and you should check them out, whether they're on PC, Nintendo Switch, etc. But is there anything you want to say for your honorable mentions real quick before we get into the meat?
I could go through them real quick. So like Deltarune is phenomenal. It's really good. I played the original demo in like 2018. Like it's crazy. This game is like almost like 10 years old or some shit. But I only played chapter 1. I didn't play chapter 2 until the Switch 2 version came out, which came with chapter 3 and 4. And damn, dude, it's real good. Like I think now is a good time to play it since like that feels like the first half of the story. And I do think it's a good time to like jump into it. I am only rating it this low because it's not technically done yet. I did the same thing with Hades 2 in early access. But yeah, Deltarune is really good. So it's such a good follow-up for Undertale. The music is fantastic. I love the characters. It's everything is such a big step up from Undertale. 14 Monster Hunter WoW is definitely weaker than like a lot of the other Monster Hunter games I played. Still good. I think it's just like a little too easy, a little too convenient. A lot of things. I think World is better. Same thing with Rise. So still a good game. Obviously the performance issues were pretty big with this game as well. But yeah, it's still good, but just not top 10 worthy, I don't think. Xenoblade X, really, really good definitive edition. It fixed so many of the issues from the Wii U version. I do think the extra story content is okay. Like I think the story in it honestly isn't that great. I like the way they're tying it into the overall Xenoblade canon, but I wasn't like the biggest fan of like the additional story content. All the quality of life stuff was great though, and I think it's the definitive way to play X. Like it's really good. Again, Sonic Racing Crossroads and Mario Kart. I know I'm cheating a little bit. I just didn't feel like playing Mario Kart. They're both pretty equal to me at this point. I think they're both really high quality racing games. Mario Kart World has that Omega polish to it. Everything feels good to do in that game. Obviously, the intermissions are sort of like the big issue with it. The lack of, I guess, like the overworld feels a little bit underdeveloped, underbaked, but still a great game. Sonic Racing Crossroads is like, it doesn't really do anything new, but what it does is it does super well. Like I think all the stages are a ton of fun. I think the crossword mechanic is really thought out super well. I'm sure you're gonna talk about it more when we talk about it, but great game. It's a good game. And then Doom is very close to making it, but I'm a little loser and put Pokemon instead because I'm a piece of shit. But Doom is great. I think it's my least favorite out of the new Doom trilogy, but still really good. It goes for a more grounded approach. Like, Eternal is very movement shooter. You're going crazy, air dashing everywhere. And I personally just like that more. Doom 2016 is a good solid middle ground, and then this game is more of like you're like a tank, like they kept advertising it as, and it's good. It just got really overshadowed this year by a bunch of other games, but I still liked it a ton. I think the extra stuff they added, like the dragon and the mech levels, are just okay. They don't really add anything to the game, but I thought the boss fights were a ton of fun. The levels were well thought out. The weapons were fun to use. It's just a really good FPS. I love it. It's good. So yeah.
I mean, I guess I'll talk about Sonic Racing Crossroads and Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Now that we're on that topic.
I'll talk about Kirby afterward as well. Yeah. So.
Yeah. When it comes to these two kart racing games, I love Mario. I love Sonic, obviously. So when I was like debating on which one should be higher than the other, it was very hard for me to be like, yeah, Sonic's better than Mario, because Mario, like you said, it just has that polish. It's just so smooth. It feels very good to play. Say what you will about the intermission tracks. I think Knockout Tour is like one of the best things to be introduced to the kart racing genre in general. Literally having a battle royale mode in a kart racer is fucking great. You eliminate the bottom 4 with each lap, and it gets more intense the more you play. There's sort of item choices. Both of them have their bullshit of freaking bullshit items, but I think Mario Kart World, it just feels a lot more chaotic because there are 24 players, which might not be your cup of tea, which is where Sonic Racing Crossroads comes into play, which has that more traditional 12 race tracks or 12 player race tracks, and also the insane roster of third-party characters within that season pass. There's also great customization options with the gears, with the karts themselves. There's a lot to love within both games, but I just had to give the slight edge to Mario Kart because of that polish, that Nintendo polish that you just cannot deny. The game runs smoothly. The game feels great to play. It is always such a joy to jump back into Mario Kart World whenever I do, because I'm just like, yeah, this is great. This is fantastic. Sonic Racing Crossroads, I haven't hopped back into it since I played it for my review, so that might say something else, but there's that.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's always people saying that, Sonic Racing Crossroads has more longevity just because it's getting DLC currently, but no. Mario Kart World is gonna stand the test of time. like Mario Kart 8 did. Like, it's gonna be played a decade later, right? Like, Sonic Racing Crossroads, I'll be surprised if people are still playing this like 2 years later, right? Like, it's still a good game. Like, don't get me wrong. I think it's my favorite Sonic Racing game since Transformed. And, it's been a while, and I love Transformed. But, Mario Kart is Mario Kart. Even the weakest one, if people say I don't agree, but like, people think World is the weakest Mario Kart in a while. Yeah. It's still great. Like, everything felt super great. It was a great launch game for the Switch. It really showed off what the Switch 2 could do, showing this open world. It looks beautiful. It's open world. It runs at like 60 frames. Again, I do wish there was more single player to it. I do wish there was more to do in the open world, but the racing itself, the animations, the costumes, like everything about it was like super high quality. So, and for me, it was definitely one of my favorite Mario Karts since like DS. Like, I'm not really a Mario Kart guy. Like, I think like Mario Kart 7 is like whatever. I never really cared that much about Mario Kart 8 either. But this game really, like, I think this game is super great. So yeah, I think both of these games are a ton of fun. But for me personally, I put Kirby ahead of them. It's my number 7. Yeah. Because this has things I was looking forward to in a racing game, because I'm a weirdo. I really like single player content in racing and fighting games because I'm fucking weird. I really appreciate when developers go the extra mile to do stuff like this. Is the reason why no one even talks about this game anymore, or as much anymore, like Soul Calibur and stuff. Soul Calibur always has super great single player content. It's always what I've always loved that series, but it's kind of dead at the moment. But I appreciate Capcom for putting like single player content in Street Fighter 6, because I'm like, that's great. It's just wacky, stupid shit, because why not, right? And Kirby Air Riders does the same thing. Going through road trip mode was a ton of fun. Getting the true ending and doing like the final finale was like incredible. I'm like, they did not have to go this hard, but they did, and I love it. Just a ton of things to unlock, just a ton of different modes to play through. It just felt so feature complete and just fun. Like, I do agree, like the racing is not nearly as fun as Mario or Sonic, but I do think the amount of stuff you could do in the game, it like definitely trumps them. And I like Kirby a lot, and all the fan service, the Sakurai-ness of the game, it just pushed it over the edge for me, and I loved it. So yeah, that's the kart racer that made it my top 10. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I have Kirby at number 9 just because I didn't put as much time as I wanted to for it. I think if I did, it might be in between Mario and Sonic, to be honest. But, there is a lot of content in this game. There's so much to do. That's why even after 6 hours, I was like, there's still so much.
I put 15 hours and I still haven't even scratched the surface. I want to play more.
Yeah, like there's so much to unlock. There's so much to do. And there's multiple ways to unlock characters. That is something that I will praise Kirby Air Riders for, is that there's not just a single way to unlock the characters. There's multiple ways to do it. No matter how you play, you will eventually unlock the entire roster. And the... what is it? Freaking single ride, whatever the hell, the single player mode.
Road trip.
Yes, that's a lot of fun. It definitely reminds me of Super Smash Brothers Classic Mode in a sense, where you're just doing these things, you're beating these NPCs, fighting these challenges, and it's a lot of fun. And obviously, the sort of online play is the main attraction for it. With freaking Top Ride and Single Ride, or whatever the hell it's called, Air Ride, I guess.
Air Ride, it's Air Ride, Top Ride, and City Trial. Yeah.
Yes, those two modes, they're fun, they're cool. Definitely not as popular as City Trials, which will have you
City Trial
on there
awesome,
for hours and hours on end. You're literally just running around this open arena, collecting power-ups and better stats and different carts, and it's a lot of fun. But like I said, I did not put enough time into it to really put it up on my list, but I do recognize that this is the complete package. If you want something that a kart racer has, which is, a ton of content, so much to do, Kirby Air Riders is that. It is exclusive to the Switch 2, and I don't necessarily consider it a console seller, but I think if you eventually get the console, this is definitely one of them that you should check out.
Yeah, I just think it's a brilliant package. And, I love when Sakurai doesn't do Smash for a little bit. Obviously, I love Smash Brothers, but like Kid Icarus Uprising and Kirby Air Riders, I'm like, dude, I wish you just made more things besides Smash, because whenever he does, it's such a joy. I love it so much. He knows how to make such a content-packed game. I love it. So
yeah, he knows how to make good video games. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, he does. Alrighty. Do you want to go or I go?
I mean, I'll just do my number 10, which is Lost Records Bloom and Rage. I think this might have been a little bit.
I was close to putting it on mine, but like there was a lot of other games. So
yeah, this game came out, I want to say around the halfway point of the year when it was finally complete with both tapes. I think this would have been a little bit higher, but then the second half of the year was just so fucking stacked with so many great titles, and
yeah, it was a lot.
I managed to squeak by within my number 10 as another graphic adventure game by Don't Nod, and it really does bring you back to those times of when they developed Life is Strange as a series, and it's a lot of fun. It is definitely not something that I would recommend to everyone. I would definitely say if you like games like Life is Strange and even Telltale to a certain extent, and you want to play a Swan, who is a teenage socially awkward girl who is now meeting with these new friends, and then you jump back and forth between the past and present to sort of rekindle with them. You're sort of figuring out like what happened during that summer that made you guys split apart so much. And it's a lot of fun. Like I said, definitely not something that I would recommend to everyone, but I think that this is a game that if you like graphic adventure games and you like Don't Nod, Life is Strange, sort of interactive choice dependent games, this is definitely one of them.
Yeah, it's a good one. I really like the vibe a lot in this game. Like I thought it was like the closest to reaching like Life is Strange 1 territory of just having like that teenage summer adventure shit that the original Life is Strange did. Obviously, I still think that's their best game they've done. Yeah. But I do think this was very close to recapturing what made Life is Strange 1 so well. Like I know people like kind of rag on the pacing in the first like half of the game, but honestly that was one of my favorite bits of it. It just felt like getting closer with all these characters and like having this summer adventure. Like I don't know, it was really good. Honestly, I just forgot to put it on here, but it's really hard. There was so many games, like it was so hard to like put it anywhere. But I think Dispatch kind of like stole the win under its sails for like the I guess Telltale styled game of the year. That's why it's on my list. But yeah, it's still a great game. I highly recommend it to people that liked Life is Strange 1. Yeah. But yeah, I guess I'll go over my number 10. So yeah, Pokemon Legends ZA. Oh, so why the fuck is this here? Look, listen. Obviously, it's so weird. Like, people call the Switch the end times for Pokemon, right? Like, this is like the worst like era of Pokemon ever, and I understand that. But honestly, I do not feel that way at all. I feel the 3DS era was definitely my weakest link with Pokemon. Like that was when I felt like I was getting too old for Pokemon. Like I love Sun and Moon, but and I think Omega Ruby and FS Sapphire I liked later. Like that's a good game, but like X and Y, I really don't like. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, I felt like just shitted over the original story of Sun and Moon, so I really don't like that either. And again, Omega Ruby, FS Sapphire, I bought it at launch in like 2014, but I just like didn't play it because I'm like, I don't want to play like a Gen 6 fucking remake of like my favorite generation. Like that just seems like bad. So I didn't do that. But for the Switch era, that continued on. Like, Sword and Shield isn't great. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee also kind of suck. I'm like, whatever. It wasn't until like Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet. Like, those games have a ton of issues, but it really started to show that like Game Freak wanted to do something with this series. Obviously, just never have enough time to make it like as polished as it could be. But I don't know. It was something about these games that made me like I really re-sparked my love for Pokemon. And the same has been true for Legends ZA. Like, I really do like a lot of things this game does. Obviously, it's number 10 for a reason. The game still doesn't look great. Obviously, it runs super well on Switch too. But, it still looks really ugly. The whole you're only in one city thing is kind of lame. I don't think they executed that idea very well. The new combat system is a very mixed bag. Like, I want to see them improve on this combat system, but it's very basic. Like, it's very, you just hit the move and things happen and you can like dodge roll stuff. It works well against wild Pokemon and like the boss Pokemon you could fight. But a lot of this game is like trainer battles, and I think that's the weakest part of the combat because like trainer battles just don't feel super good in this game. But just like the exploration, it is fun. Like you could like go over rooftops and interact with your Pokemon. You could, I think the story is honestly like really good. Like by the later half of the game, I'm like, it makes the weakest story being X and Y into something really good. And it actually does make me want to reevaluate X and Y in general to like see if I was missing something. Cause like this game does so much justice to X and Y. Like I'm like, wow, you made the weakest story in any Pokemon game into like the best. Like I was very impressed with the story in this game. I loved it. I haven't really played much of the DLC yet. I heard it's kind of a mixed bag as well. I want to play it myself. But overall, I really enjoyed Legends ZA. Like, I think it was still another good time. And I think the Legends series is like probably the best thing that happened to Pokemon in like a long ass time. Like Arceus, I think I still do prefer that game over this game. But man, I've been honestly really liking the direction Pokemon's been going. Like, I do agree these games need way more time in the oven. They shouldn't be coming out as fast as they are. But I can't lie to myself. Like, I like these games a lot. Like Scarlet and Violet, Legends Arceus, and this game. I've been having a ton of fun with them. So yeah, it's number 10.
My guilty, I guess, pleasure pick in here is Sonic Rumble.
Yeah,
yes, I'd be wondering why it's a little higher than it should be. It's at number 8. I just fucking love Sonic, and honestly, what this game does for me is that it celebrates Sonic in a way that I have never felt within the other Sonic games before, because it is a live service online multiplayer game where I could play with my friends, I could play with other Sonic fans online who are also just as tryhard, if not more fucking tryhard than me, that are just zooming around the board trying to collect as many rings as possible. It's just a lot of fun. Obviously, the worst part about it is that the microtransactions are fucking egregious. They are
$40
insane.
For like a skin.
Yes, $45, maybe even $100 for certain skins. It is ridiculous in terms of the pricing of the skins within Sonic Rumble. But for what the game is, it is a free-to-play, live service, battle royale, Fall Guys ripoff game, and it's a lot of fun. It is slop. It is fucking mobile garbage slop, but I love it.
It's fun though. I won't lie. Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun game.
Yeah.
Obviously I wouldn't put it in my top like 20 of the year, but like I still think it's a fun time. Like, there's a ton of content to it. The music is nice. The game looks good too. Like, for a mobile game, I think it looks pretty good. There's clearly like a lot of love put into it. I just think a lot of the mobile elements are pretty annoying.
Yes.
Most of just the skin prices. I don't know why they're so fucking much money. Like, $40 for a single skin is like actually like rage bait. Like just if it was like $20, it would have been like, all right, like that's about standard for most games. But like $40, like why?
Yeah,
it's still good though. But yeah. Alrighty, so I guess I'll go for my number 9. So my number 9 was Borderlands 4. I really like this game a lot. Again, same thing with Pokemon. It does have a lot of issues in terms of like mostly just performance. Like, this game didn't run this game runs like shit everywhere. Like,
yeah.
If you're playing on consoles, like I saw my brother, like he could only play it for maybe like an hour. Then it had like a bunch of like memory leaks, and the game just started to run worse and worse as he kept playing it, and it just looked really bad. Luckily, I was able to play on GeForce Now, so I didn't have like any issues with performance. And damn, man, like this is such a good return to form for the series. I love Borderlands, like Borderlands 1, 2, Tales from the Borderlands, like all that stuff. I pre-sequel as well. Like I love all those games. But Borderlands 3 was like such a big disappointment for me. Like I think gameplay wise it was better than the previous games. But like story wise, character wise, it was so bad. I'm like, basically when everyone always makes fun of Borderlands for being like shitty story, dumb writing or whatever, I never agreed with that. Borderlands 3 is basically like what people thought the series was. I'm like, God damn it. Like, this shit sucks. And Borderlands 4, I think, really fixed that. The writing still isn't like Shakespeare or anything, but like it does a good job taking stuff a bit more seriously. The writing feels a lot more in tone with Borderlands 1. So it's not like as memey. It doesn't really rely too much on like memes to like be relevant. A lot of side quests are like pretty like actually funny. The main story has like a pretty threatening villain. I liked it a lot. The gunplay feels so good. Like it's so much improved from the previous Borderlands games. Like playing Borderlands 2 feels like shit now compared to this game. It feels so good to shoot weapons in this game. The amount of builds you could do, you have like 3 different skill trees like in Borderlands 3, but then those also branch out into 3 different skill trees like in your skill tree. So there's a bunch of different builds you could do. All the legendaries feel good to use. Well, most of them do. There's some shitty ones, but that's part for the course. The game, I do think the game does look good. I don't know why it runs like ass, but like it does look pretty good for what it is. The switch to an open world format for the series fits super well. I mean, the looter shooter genre just fits really well with an open world setting in general. So having those 2 addictive gameplay loops of like finding a new point of interest, playing a base camp, getting new loot, like I think that fits the series extremely well. So yeah, like Borderlands 4 is like such a big step up from 3, and I'm glad like Gearbox was able to really take the feedback from Borderlands 3 to actually make like a genuinely good game. Like I really do like Borderlands 4 quite a bit. It kind of sucks that I had so many issues with its performance, and Randy Pitchford fucking sucks. But like the game itself is great. Like I think it's such a good return to form, and I'm really excited to play all the DLCs when they eventually come out. So yeah, great game.
All right, I'll pick another game from my list. Marvel Cosmic Invasion. This was a quick little beat 'em up game that we got to play a few months ago, or I would say maybe a month ago at this point. It's still pretty recent. Coming from the same team that did TMNT Shredder's Revenge, but with a Marvel skin on top, and you could pick two characters at once, and you could swap between them. It's a lot of fun. I think that this is one of the best beat 'em up games that we've gotten within recent years, if any at all, honestly. You know, TMNT Shredder's Revenge was on the market for a while because it was getting DLC after DLC for, I think, 3 releases or something like that. So maybe that'll happen again with Marvel Cosmic Invasion. You know, there's already 15 characters on the roster as is, which is an insane amount for any beat 'em up game. But if we were to get more than that, I wouldn't complain. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think if you are going for 100% completion, it is definitely worth that $30 price tag. It is a little bit pricey, I'm not going to lie, but you know, you got to pay that Marvel tax to, you know, it's got to go somewhere. So, you know, if you want to get a nice, fresh arcade beat 'em up with the Marvel aesthetic, this is definitely one you should check out.
Yeah, it's you know, I think I like Shredder's Revenge more than Cosmic Invasion, for me personally, but I still think it's a good game. I just think Shredder's Revenge had a bit more variety in its levels, and I just think the boss fights were better. But Cosmic Vision is still a great classic 2D beat 'em up. You know, playing it with friends is always more fun, obviously. The team up mechanic is cool, being able to switch out any hero you want. Well, I guess like, between the two that you pick at the start of a level.
Yeah.
You could find some cool synergies. Like, obviously, I pick Rocket and Iron Man, and I think that was a fun little combination since Rocket was good on the ground and Iron Man was good for the flyers. I thought that was a ton of fun. And yeah, the art is great. Like, I think like the game just looks fantastic. The more cheesy writing is fun because, you know, it's more like, you know, like more comic booky type style. It's a solid game. I really did enjoy it quite a bit. And you know, I'm excited to see the more about the Scott Pilgrim game since they're making it as well. They're just like, I guess I got pigeonholed to making beat 'em ups, but hey, I love beat 'em ups, so that's okay for me.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so I gotta go for my number 7. It's a bit lower than I thought it was gonna be after like shuffling everything around, but still a great game. Ghost of Yode. So
yes,
I really like Ghost of Yode. I think the reason why it's a bit lower than I thought it was going to be when I was like really arranging everything in my head is because, you know, it basically is just Ghost of Tsushima. You know, I don't think, like I said when I was originally talking about it, I don't think it does anything particularly better or worse than Ghost of Tsushima. It just does some things a bit differently. Like, obviously, instead of stances, you have weapons, which are more fun to use than the different stances. You know, the story, like, some people like it more, some people hate it more. I think they're about even for, like, how much I enjoyed them. Yeah. The world and, like, activities are better in Ghost of Yode, I think. But at the same time, they basically are, like, the same structure. So, yeah, the game just feels very familiar if you played Ghost of Tsushima. But it's not a bad game at all. Like, it's still extremely good. Like, well-crafted. There's some really nice moments in there. Gameplay is still super fun. You know, just being that, like, samurai fantasy still hits super hard. I just feel like it doesn't stick out in my mind as much as I thought it was going to. Because Tsushima I was thinking about for a while. I'm like, this game is great. Yeah. But with Yote, I feel like it was definitely like, I played it, I really liked it, and then I kind of just stopped thinking about it. So that's why it's kind of a bit lower than I thought it was going to be. Still good, though. Still really good.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I definitely thought Ghost of Yode was going to be at least within my top 3, but then when I looked at it again, I'm like, well, I can't put it above Donkey Kong Bonanza, Dispatch, or Split Fiction. You know, I was like, that's like a solid top 3. So I was like, yeah, it's got to be sadly within my number 4. But, you know, as the resident Sucker Punch fanboy here, you know, Ghost of Yode is amazing. It is the sort of PlayStation Studios title for the year, and it delivered everything that I would want from a Ghost of Tsushima sequel. You know, you could say it's more of the same, which I kind of agree with, but I do like the variety of weapons that you get to use whenever you are exploring. The amount of side activities that you can do is like insane. There's always something that pops up. The fucking yellow bird flies around and you're like, well, I guess I gotta follow it. You know, like, it's always fun exploring the world of Yote, and I had a blast doing it. But like you said, you know, the story may not have had the same impact that I think a lot of people had with Tsushima, where you're kind of just thinking about like that ending with Jin Sakai and sort of that honor and sort of what he did to sort of end the war and the way that he did it, right? But this story was very much about revenge and sort of Atsu's growings as a character. You know, it's very much a personal story and something that we've seen before, executed a little bit differently, a lot more about Atsu and not more so about, you know, the Yote 6 kind of thing, right? So, yeah, you know, it's still a good story. I really did enjoy it. I think I am in the same boat as you, where I think they're both a little bit the same. Maybe Yote's a little bit better. Maybe Tsushima's a little bit better on certain days. But, you know, I definitely enjoyed Ghost of Yode for for what it is, and maybe because the game isn't as strikingly appealing as it was the first time, maybe Sucker Punch will move in a different direction after they do Yotei Legends. But we'll just have to wait and see. But like I said, Yotei is still a fantastic, phenomenal game, and there's still people out there that are getting into it, and I wish them the best of luck, because there's just so much to do within that game, and it was a ton of fun when we were playing it.
Yeah, I still really enjoy the game a lot. So I guess I go into my number 6. Then we could talk about like some things we have in common. So Hades 2. So this was in my top 5, but then I finished a certain other game, which I didn't talk about in my recent activities because I was saving it for this. And I'll talk about that in a second. But Hades 2 was in my top 5, and I got knocked down to number 6. So the only reason I did that is because I do think the story and ending aren't as good as Hades 1. I do think everything else is better about this game than Hades 1, but I think those two things are a bit of justification for myself to bring it down to like the bottom half. Still really good though. Like my top 6 was really agonizing to sort of like get into place. I was pretty sure where my bottom 3 were going to be, but like the middle part of this list was like kind of hard for me to like figure out. But yeah, Hades 2 is great. Like I think, it released in early access last year. It was probably the most complete early access game I've played in my entire life. Like it had more content than Hades 1 on early access day, which was like crazy. And ever since then, it's just been adding more and more and more. It's just been addressing all the issues I had with Hades 1 in general, being like the lack of variety, maybe like the lack of builds, the lack of paths to go down. All the actual gameplay elements of this game is everything I would want from a sequel from Hades. Like I think the gameplay is still fantastic. There's just, Supergiant is just doing what they always do well with their isometrics or like beat 'em up type games, and they apply all that stuff into Hades 2. I do think the writing and story is not a lot worse, but it definitely is not as good as Hades 1. Like I think the stakes are higher, but that doesn't really translate to like a better story. Like kind of loses a lot of its personal like subject matter to it. And I think the things they want you to like sort of like believe for a character to have a certain redemption doesn't feel super earned. So yeah, I think Hades 1 still has it cornered in that market there. But in terms of everything else, I do think it is a better game than Hades 1, just from being a roguelite, which is usually what I value a bit more when it comes to these type of games. Usually I'm a pretty story-focused gamer, but when it comes to roguelites, I am more worried about the replay value and like what I get out of the doing runs over and over. And Hades 2 just does that super well. So definitely my favorite Supergiant game, I think, but barely misses the top 5 for me, but really good. I really like Hades 2 quite a bit.
All right, so we're going to crack into Damian's top 5. So we got Split Fiction. This is my number 3. Yes. It came out very early within the year. I think it came out within like March. I was doing some research recently.
Like March, February or something. Yeah, I think it was March. Yeah, it
came out very early within the year. So, during the whole Game of the Year buzz, it was definitely missing within a few categories, in my opinion. But hey, Split Fiction is definitely one of the best games released this year, by far, bar none. I think Joseph Fares and Hazlight Studios really found like the perfect way to make a co-op sort of required multiplayer action platformer, and this is it. Like it is very focused in terms of what it wants to do. It really shows the culmination of everything that they've done from A Way Out and It Takes Two into Split Fiction, and those last few hours are just like that shit was insane to watch and experience in terms of how they even did it, like sort of tech wise. I was like, what the fuck is going on? But just getting there, from point A to point B, the sort of platforming challenges that you have to do, they were a lot harder than It Takes Two. Maybe it's because I was playing with my girlfriend this time around, but some of those platforming challenges, I was ripping my hair out at some at certain points. I was like, God damn it, it is like very, very precise timing, so we have to get it right. But it is just a ton of fun, and I cannot recommend Split Fiction enough. Whether you want to play with a friend, family member, or significant other, this is a game that you do not want to miss from this year.
Yeah, the game is great. It's so good. I think this is my favorite game they've done. Like, I think they just keep improving themselves. A Way Out was like super fun as like a way to have that like, more story focused, like puzzle solving sort of like adventure game. It was really good. I really like it. Felt very unique at the time. And then It Takes Two is basically like feels like a prototype version of this game now, where you have a bunch of fun platforming challenges, like different gimmicks between levels. Everything played into the fact that you were like a small guy just doing things. Like it was super creative and fun.
Yeah.
Split Fiction, I feel like, is even better than that game. Like the amount of variety in this game is crazy. Like the platforming feels good to use. The game is always introducing creative mechanics to go through. It plays into its co-op strengths really well. The boss fights were a ton of fun for like no reason. They didn't have to go as hard as they did with that. The final level is just like probably the most insane thing I played in a video game. It's like crazy what they do with that final level and how mindfucky it is. It's so good. Split Fiction is definitely Hazelight's best game, and I'm really sad it didn't get more recognition than it did. There's one thing I'm a bit upset about with the Game Awards. Like I wish it won. Like I don't think it won anything now that I think about it. So I did wish it win at least something, because that's the curse of releasing a really good game early, is that people kind of forget about it. But I didn't. I'm like, nah, this shit's gonna be my top 5 regardless. Like I love Split Fiction. So Hazelight absolutely knocked it out of the park. Joseph Ferris, what a goat. I can't wait to see his next game. It's just great, man. Like, and the game is like pretty cheap if you split it between you and your friend. Has the friend pass system. It's great, man. Like definitely something, I think if you have someone to play with, definitely play it. It's really good.
Now I'm interested to hear about your number 4.
Yes. All right. So 4, Trails in the Sky. So this is the game I didn't talk about my recent activities, and this is why I was actually really playing a shit ton of, because I want to beat it before this. Trails is a JRPG series that came out, or I guess a remake of a PSP game that came out like 2004 or something. And it's a series I always heard so much about. This is a really unique RPG series where each game is connected to each other. So like this game really sets the foundation of its world. So you learn about all the different countries and how the world works, all the systems in place. And the cool thing is like you get to explore all these places in its sequel series, like Trails in Cold Steel or some of the other ones. You get to explore all these countries that this game kind of explains and like sets up. But that's not to say that this game is just like MCU, where it's like, oh, we're gonna set up a bunch of things, but like the main thing is like, all right, like no, like the main story of this game is great as well. It's a very fun adventure where you're just like going through this world, just exploring everything for the first time, learning all these new characters. Every character is super likable. The world is really unique and interesting. Again, the fact that you really can just explore these other countries and the other games is great. It's basically if like Final Fantasy 14, instead of being an MMO with expansions, was like this continuously like big ass like single player RPG series. It's basically what this game is. And it just hooked me super hard. And I think what really shot it up was the ending being fucking phenomenal. It was really fucking good. And they're so confident in this that they like the game ends with a trailer for the second game in it, because they're remaking that as well. Because it ends in such a big cliffhanger. I'm like, holy shit, that's so good. This game is great. A lot of people were upset that this got super snubbed by Expedition, because this game kind of took the JRPG spotlight from it. But if you are in the know for a lot of like JRPG, like I guess like fans or like on Twitter, like people are singing this game's praises quite a bit, and I could see why. The Trail series is always a series I really wanted to get into. It was just intimidating because it was like 17 fucking games to get through. But now that they're remaking them, I could kind of take it one step at a time, and this seemed like the best place to get into it right now. And the gameplay itself is really fun too. It's like this fun turn-based combat system where you sort of like move around and sort of like you have a bunch of AoEs that kind of aim around, so it kind of makes the game feel a bit more interactive than a standard turn-based system. And it's just a ton of fun. The whole orbment system is really cool. It kind of acts like materia from Final Fantasy VII, where you can kind of like slot these gems into your characters and it gives them different effects. If you combine different colors, you get different magic effects. So you can either go like full physical or for a magic, or do like a mix in between. Just a really fun combat system in general. And just exploration was a ton of fun. It was just great, man. I really liked it a lot. And, as someone that loves JRPGs, like this shit's always going to like get shot up pretty high. This is just a great game. Great introduction to this series. I'm really excited to play the sequel next year. They're remaking the sequel. I just fucking loved it. It was phenomenal. If it wasn't for Expedition 33, it probably would be my favorite JRPG of the year, but Expedition takes that. So yeah, really good.
Okay.
All right. So I guess more in common now.
Yes, more in common.
We could talk about Dispatch.
Yes, Dispatch.
My number 3.
And this is my number 2. This is the graphic adventure game that everyone was playing over the last month or so. Like, this really took the entire gaming community by storm by releasing a batch of episodes every single week, and people were really buying into it. You know, another graphic adventure game. I haven't seen this many people talk about a game like this since Telltale's The Walking Dead, all the way back in like, what was that, like 2012, 2011? Like, it's been so long since people have been this excited about a game like this, and for a good goddamn reason. Like, the game has a strong as hell narrative. The characters are so lovable and so much fun to watch and enjoy, and there's no walking and talking, but instead the game makes the choices really matter. Like, you are on a time limit for every single choice, and every single choice you also make feels important to getting to the ending, one of the many endings that you can get. And the gameplay loop also of just dispatching heroes, you know, it sounds fucking stupid and silly, but it was a lot of fun. It made the game that much more enjoyable, where you were watching, I guess, like a TV show or like a movie, and just making these choices as you go along, and then you get into the gameplay and you fucking lock in. You lock in and you're trying to, you know, figure out which hero to send where, which hero to send there. Should I send both heroes? Should I just send one? Hopefully this guy could handle that, and then I could send these guys elsewhere. It was just a lot of fun, just micromanaging them, and, you know, that doesn't really have a huge impact on the overall story, but that was still a fun portion of the game. And honestly, this is like one of the best, if not the best, sort of graphic adventure game that we've gotten within recent years. And I cannot recommend it enough. Even if you watch like one of your favorite content creators play it, buy it for yourself, try it out. It's on PC and PlayStation 5, and it is 100% worth it. Also, you get to show the devs that you really love this product, and you get to support them. And hopefully they make a season 2 sooner rather than later.
Yeah, the game is awesome. Like, this game, like, I played it and I'm like, this has to be top 5 after I finished it. And I just kept getting up my list. I'm like, nah, I think it's like a top 3 game. Like, this game is so good. Yeah, definitely the best Telltale inspired game since, dude, I don't even know what. Probably like Life is Strange. I remember when like Telltale stopped being a thing, but like, yeah, it's been a while since people have played a game like this and just enjoyed it. And I actually think the weekly sort of episode structure, it might have been 2 episodes a week, I can't really remember. Yeah, but I think that really, obviously I binged through all of it because I played it after all of them were out, but that really helped the game's discussion. Like, people were like talking about it constantly. It was always on my Twitter feed. Like, people were going crazy about it, like, you know, all the different plot points, or obviously the blonde blazer and physical like situation over there. Yeah, theories, like where the story would go. Like, it really helped a lot. And I think it works better when the game is basically done and you are releasing them weekly. Like, I think Telltale's major thing was like, they released an episode, but then they were still knee deep in development on the other episode, so it would take like months for that one to come out. I think this is a greater idea of like having the game basically be done and just releasing them at a steady pace. Like, and it gets people talking like a TV show while still being like a fun narrative style game, right? I think that was a very smart decision. And like the game itself, oh man, so good. The visual style is amazing. It just looks super nice. Like, all the character designs are really neat. The actual gameplay part of it, I thought was really fun. Like, I didn't know how much I not dislike the walking and talking, but like it feels like, yeah, it's nice to have like a game like this have gameplay, I guess. Yes. Like, you know, like even if it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, I think it does for Invisigal's like sort of situation. But for the most part, it's just like a fun thing you could do, right? Like, you do the dispatch gameplay, adds nice flavoring to the world for what you're actually doing. Min-maxing their stats is a ton of fun, like combining different heroes and to get different synergies with each other. I thought that stuff was a ton of fun. And obviously the main story itself, super cool as well. Like, I love the narrative a lot in this game. Just seeing Robert like go from like, you know, Mega Man and evolving as a character to like where he is at the end of it. Obviously that depends on your choices, but I was very happy with how my game ended up. I got like the best possible ending, and I was like super like high on the game after finishing it. I'm like, yeah, this game is so great. Obviously, you know, I know Travis like kind of fucked up his ending.
Even though I got the bad ending, it's still in my top 2. I still really enjoyed the game, and I understand that my choices and what I did towards the later half of the episodes reflected my ending. And you know what? That is what it is. I will accept those consequences. And Dispatch is still one of the best games that I have played this year. Definitely top 2, like I put it. But yeah, you know, even though I did get the bad ending, I'm not salty about it. I understand my choices had consequences to them.
But yeah, no, the game was just great. And, you know, whatever this team is doing next, I believe they're doing a new IP next, and then hopefully we get Dispatch Season 2. But yeah, whatever they do, I'm definitely down for it. They definitely proven themselves that they could finally carry the torch that Telltale has dropped many years ago. And, you know, I don't think Wolf Among Us Season 2 is coming out anytime soon. So, you know, this is the best we're going to get. And that's a really good thing because this game is great. Yeah. Alrighty, so our number 2, well, my number 2 and your number 1,
yes,
is Donkey Kong Bonanza. This game is awesome. Like it really is just Mario Odyssey on crack, but also I think does a lot of things better than Odyssey. Odyssey is still a great game. Like I know like people like to slander Odyssey nowadays, and even me, it's not my favorite 3D Mario. But, you know, the Too Many Moons issue was, you know, it's a real issue, right? Like, you know, you don't feel super accomplished for getting a lot of the moons in that game. They're kind of just there. You kind of do need them for progression. Donkey Kong solves this by having each banana actually, like, do something. Like, you get skill points. You know, you could buy currency, or you could use the currencies to, like, buy outfits that actually have different stats on them. You know, I think all that stuff adds to a really addictive gameplay loop where I actively wanted more bananas to upgrade my Donkey Kong. You know what I'm saying? And I think that adds a lot to the core gameplay loop. Maybe the platforming isn't as strong because you can just kind of climb on everything. Like, obviously, I think all the Mario games are better at that. But I feel like it really adds itself as a distinct, like, this is why Donkey Kong 3D platformer is. And I think it adds to that a lot. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm just playing a 3D Mario game. Like, it feels like I'm playing a Donkey Kong game, right? Like, he has his own distinct play style of, like, breaking the terrain, doing crazy stuff with that, getting the bananas. Like, it feels very distinct. And, you know, again, the finale of this game is fucking insane as well with all the crazy stuff that happens. I won't say it, but damn, man, it goes crazy. It goes bananas, you could say. No, the game is phenomenal. I guess the only downside is like the performance could get kind of shaky when you're breaking a bunch of blocks and stuff. Like it could get like really framey, especially towards the end, and that's a little disappointing to see. You know, it's basically like a launch window Switch 2 game, so you kind of expect it to be like a flawless running game. But that's such a minor issue. Everything else about this game is just so good. It's just so full of joy. The Bananza powers are super fun to use. The worlds are fun to explore. The collectibles have meaning to collect them. It's definitely one of my favorite 3D Nintendo platformers. It's very good.
Yeah, this is my choice for Game of the Year because the game is just flawless, honestly. Like, this is everything that I would want from a 3D platformer, and one that is open world to that sense. You know, this is a 3D Donkey Kong platformer, and we are Donkey Kong, so we can punch, we can smack, we can pick things up, we can destroy anything and everything. And the fact that they were even able to achieve that kind of gameplay loop is enough for me to be like, yeah, this is like top 3, top 5 at least, because it's like that technical achievement is awe-dropping. Like, that is insane that they were even able to do that, and also make it so the exploration has layers to that, because you are able to punch and destroy everything within the world, that the exploration becomes even more exciting and enticing to get into. The bananas, you know, that was like a big thing with Mario Odyssey with like the moons. Like you said, it's like, yeah, we could collect all these, but like, what's the point of them? You know, it doesn't really do anything for Mario. A lot of what this game has to offer and a lot of the things you do collect tie back into Donkey Kong and tie back into the gameplay, which makes you going after those collectibles that much more important and that much more exciting, you know, because it's like, oh, like if I collect 5 bananas, I could get a skill point and then I could upgrade Donkey Kong. Sometimes you might need multiple skill points. So yeah, I need to go and find more bananas and more things to do. And on top of the sort of power-ups that you get with Pauline, it's like, oh, okay, Donkey Kong could just fucking turn into a zebra. Sure, whatever, I don't care. You know, it enhances the gameplay and makes the adventure of Donkey Kong Bonanza that much more fun. Sure, the story is like whatever, you know, you're just Donkey Kong and Pauline going on adventures trying to stop the Void Company, and then the finale happens, and then it's fucking batshit insane. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, this is great, awesome, amazing Nintendo storytelling at its finest, where like, you know, it's all basic and cool stuff, and then nostalgia happens, and it's like, yes, this is what I wanted from my Donkey Kong 3D platformer game. And it is literally everything that I would want from the platforming genre in general, and I'm glad Nintendo were able to make this game possible on the Nintendo Switch 2, because it was originally on the Switch 1 hardware, which I think I think it would have been maybe okay / fine, but just seeing this run at 60 frames per second and run mostly steadily is great. I think the other downside about this game is the boss fights. You know, not a lot of them are memorable. I would say the final boss is obviously the most memorable, which is a good thing. But I think every other boss before then, it was kind of just like whatever, you know, we are Donkey Kong, we are strong as shit. So we're just beating the shit out of them and then they're down within like less than 5 minutes. So that's definitely a sore spot for Donkey Kong Bonanza is the boss fights are not all that amazing. But just getting to the boss fights and getting from level to level, like it is just so much fun. And honestly, I kind of have to hop back into it with that DLC one of these days with that roguelike mode. You know, I've seen gameplay of it and it just looks so much fun.
I like it.
Yeah. So
the Emerald Rush mode is a ton of fun. I know $20 is a bit much for it. I do agree.
Yes.
But it's a fun way to re-experience these levels. Like you really learn these levels inside and out. Like just scrambling to get as much of these emeralds as you can before the time runs out. Gain a good build going. Like getting things that synergize with each other. It's honestly like a fun mode. I think people are a little too harsh on it. Like I think it's fun. I do think the $20 is way too much. But like the mode itself is fun. I like it.
Yeah, so right. Donkey Kong Bonanza is my game of the year for those exact reasons.
Alrighty, so now is my game of the year, Expedition 33. I know it's I'm not breaking new ground here, but hey, man, Expedition, it's really good, and you know, it's so funny because I was so wrong about this game in so many ways. Where you know, I thought I was always just super excited for this game. But I thought I was going to have to champion this game. I thought no one would talk about this game because I'm like, it's just a like weird French JRPG. Like, who's going to talk about this? And then everyone did, apparently. And people were super high on him. Oh, that's great. And then as we came to Game Awards, people were getting more salty about it. And then when Game Awards happened, now everyone fucking hates this game. So I'm like, all right, I guess I got to have to champion it after all. Obviously, the genAI stuff we talked about is pretty lame. You know, I know like this game, I don't think this game is like using genAI to like write the story or the fucking music or anything. It's still a little lame that it was used at all, but I understand. Like I feel like it wasn't on purpose. Like they weren't some grand scheme to like we're gonna use all the textures, are gonna be genAI. Like I really don't think that was the case with this game. And it doesn't take away. This game is awesome. Like you know, I think it does a lot of good for the genre. And you know, as someone that likes a lot of JRPGs, I think this game feels like such a love letter to so many of them, especially like PS1, PS2 era JRPGs. Again, that's what makes me kind of sad. A lot of people that actually do like JRPGs hate this game just because it's like, oh, it's like realistic slop I keep hearing. I'm like, bro, what does that even mean? So it's like, but yeah, I think it's just a very nice introduction to the genre for a lot of people. Obviously, yeah, the more realistic art style will get more people to play it because, you know, a lot of people don't like, you know, more anime art styles, which, you know, that's just how it is. So, you know, having this game be a more production value focused, like having like these more realistic character models, the gameplay being a lot more action focused, while still being turn based, you know, I think these things really get more people to eye this game than other JRPGs. And, I think it does all that super well. Like you know, the art direction is good in this game. You know, like I think the game is supposed to be this world that's like all ruined by the paintress, which is, you know, why everything's all like a paint motif. And I think a lot of the world design looks super good. Same thing with a lot of the characters. Yeah, maybe technically it doesn't look super great when you're just moving around. It feels very like stock Unreal 5 engine stuff. But like, I think they do a good job with the world design and just like how the enemies look. The spell effects are really nice. Like everything has like a nice like ink trail. Like it just looks really good. The music is just phenomenal. Oh my God, the music is so fucking good in this game. Definitely the best of this year. Very like Nier-esque, very like big Final Fantasy moments in there. Like it's very good music. And the gameplay, it does such a good job too. It basically is just Mario and Luigi on crack, where the game is very built on parrying and dodging attacks. So, and when you do attacks yourself, if you do the button prompt, you get more damage. So again, if you played a Mario and Luigi game, you know what to expect from this game. And it's cool because you can basically do the whole game without taking any damage. And I don't think it takes away from it because some of the final fights are like really hard and like I can't parry for shit. Like I just made it so I could just like one tap every boss I saw like with the right build, which is also something you could do. And it's cool because the game really lets you engage in any way you want. If you're not that experienced with buildcraft or like making a proper party, you don't really have to worry about that. As long as you're good at button prompts, like you could be like just fine in this game. Obviously I went for my RPG brain, so being able to interact with the Picto system is really cool. So basically you could like equip like 3 different equipment slots, and those slots have like passive abilities your character gains. And you could like use those equipment pieces, and then after you win 3 fights, you get to have those permanently, as long as you have like skill points to like slot into your character. So you can really make some like really strong builds if you know what you're doing, or you could just like be good at the pairing and like not worry about any of that. So it's cool that the game lets you play it as a more actiony game, or as like a more like strategic, like, okay, I should really think what I'm like putting on my characters type way. I think that's really cool. And of course, like the story is just like really cool. Like the premise itself, like I said, like, you know, this giant paintress lady is like has like a doomsday clock, and she like just randomly like paints after a year. Like everyone under this age just gets fucking like Thanos snapped away. Like that premise from the first trailer was like super sick, and I feel like the story goes places. And some people don't like what happens towards like the last third of the game. I think it's really good. Like I fuck with the story the whole time. Like it's really good. I do think the only issue with the story is like I think some characters are way less important than others. Basically, the 2 main leads are the 2 main leads. Like other JRPGs do better jobs at balancing their party members than this game does, but they're still good. I still like a lot of the additional characters in this game. They'll have some moments to shine and extra conversations to talk to them to really get to know them, and I think it does that pretty well. But yeah, just overall, like the whole game is just great from front to back. And the fact that it was made by a relatively small team on a relatively small budget for what it was is just insane. You know, like I said before, the backstory of this game, like finding the composer on SoundCloud, finding the main writer on Reddit, I'm just like, dude, like the fact that this game exists at all is crazy. Like, yeah, maybe it's not like an indie game, if you want to say it's not an indie game, because it has a publisher, it got funding from like the French government and shit. $10 million isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things, but still like a ton more than a lot of indie games get. So I can understand if you want to be mad about that, but I do think it's still a good lesson that a lot of other studios could learn. Like you don't need like $200 million to make a 10 out of 10 game, right? You just need the right amount of passion, the right amount of money, just know what you're doing, have a clear vision what you're doing, and you can make such a like a phenomenal game like Expedition 33. So I do hope this is something studios are looking at. Like maybe let your developers fuck around a little bit, give them some budget. Because you know, like none of this would have happened if this dude was still shackled to Ubisoft, right? Like he was just like in that shit. He wanted to make a JRPG, and Ubisoft is like, fuck no, why would you want to do that? So he just left and decided to make it himself. So it's just a really special game. It's really good. I highly recommend it to people that aren't into JRPGs, because I think it does a great job introducing people to the genre. And I introduced it. Yeah, there you go. I think the game is good for people that also do like JRPGs. It could be a little salty, be like, oh, like, you know, like there was a ton of really good JRPGs this year. Like Trails was one of them. Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster, which I'm gonna play like really soon. The Dragon Quest 3 remake, like there was Octopath Zero, like there was a lot of good JRPGs this year, and I could see some people getting butthurt that they got overshadowed by this game. But this game is really good. Like I do highly recommend it, and I love those games too. But I'm just saying, like I think it's worth a shot. The game isn't that expensive either. It's like $50, and it probably went on sale. So it's really good. Definitely my game of the year. I loved it a lot, and yeah, it's really good.
All right, and that is our top 10 games of 2025. Thank you guys for listening to the Travis and Damian podcast this year, or this episode at all. We really appreciate you guys. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Damian?
No, that's about everything. Just really good year of games, and yeah, I guess we'll see you next year with our top 10 most anticipated games, right?
Yes, we will see you guys 2 weeks from now with another episode counting down our most anticipated games going into the new year. See ya.
Yep. See ya.